Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am very excited to bring you the action of Tyrant's Tale. And I'm not the only one bringing it to you. My friend Iskatu Mesk is here to talk about this action as well. Mesk, we have 4 series today to take a look at, if time allows. Maybe we'll have to split it up into a second day. But it's quarterfinals time. All best of 5s. The top 8, like best players perhaps in the whole community that we have here for Cosmonarchy. Up first, we're looking at HitEmUp against Veek7. HitEmUp for me, the guy who really should be able to win this whole thing. He seems very dominant. And it's funny because this was supposed to be a random versus random match. But HitEmUp changed to Tyrant and Veek changed to Zerg. So what do you make of this opening matchup right here and now?
Let's see. HitEmUp is the one I was watching play Arbis. Yeah, he definitely played all 3 races pretty competently. But I would say Tyrant is probably his strongest, so I'm not really surprised to see him go Tyrant.
Okay.
Veek, on the other hand, I feel like just based on the fact, I haven't really watched his games between the tournament, like I kind of have HitEmUp, casting some of those older ones against Arbis, so I kind of have a bit more context for that. But with Veek, at least from the ones we watched, we saw he had more success with Zerg, and I feel like he's come to rely on that, and maybe he sees Zerg as his strongest right now, so he's going into that and doesn't really want to rely on random anymore. It is kind of funny that we switched out of random into fixed races at this point.
Yes.
It's kind of not too surprising. It doesn't really surprise me too much. If that option is there, I think they'll do it, especially if the tournament kind of like could be a proving grounds for them where they say, okay, maybe I won so-and-so matches, but it was kind of shaky. I felt better in this situation. And maybe didn't expect to have this much difficulty there. Because you don't always get to practice against these kinds of opponents, so sometimes it can help you see things that you may not really encounter with your matchups. Like, for example, in HitEmUp's games against Arbis, those ones that I casted all seemed pretty one-sided in HitEmUp's favor. But when I watched Arbis play against Nablime, Arbis is taking matches off Nablime, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's way more going on here than I've seen thus far. So there's definitely like, a very strong player that we're not really getting to see full explore within the context of those games. So definitely, I think the tournament caused Veek to decide to make some changes to his approach and no longer really... Actually, it kind of surprised me he was playing random to begin with. I don't seem to recall him really playing random that much before. So maybe he was like, okay, now I'm starting to get deep into the brackets. Maybe I don't want the randomness of random really deciding the match outcomes anymore, especially since he's going to be pretty much going against, universally strong opponents at this point. And he's like, okay, now I'm going to actually really try to take this seriously. So it was kind of maybe an explorative phase or maybe just whatever. But, well, now he's at this point. Now he's going to play Zerg. And I don't know. When I think of Veek, I don't think of him as a Zerg player, but that was his strongest out of those matches. So times have definitely changed since I've really followed his gameplay. More or less thought of him as a Protoss player. So, but that's just based on the context of when I was playing, and he was pretty much almost always Protoss. So, it will be interesting to see if that does him well against HitEmUp, though, because, well, again, most of my time watching HitEmUp is against Arbis, who's playing Protoss the entire time. So he had that matchup pretty much down to a T as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
Against Zerg, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like when you think about it, there's not so many Zerg players. I think the strongest one we had was Krankendow, and he's been taking a break, doing some real life stuff as far as I understand. So he hasn't been around to give much practice, actually. Since then, the Night Fox has been kind of going back and forth between Zerg and Protoss. You think about Gerald Storm might be another guy who is pretty decent for Zerg practice, but he's also on infrequently. You might not have even ever seen a game of him or heard his name for that matter, Mesk. So
yeah, I saw him posting recently. I said, oh, look, there's another new guy.
Yeah. He's actually been around for a little bit now, but he's been infrequently available and stuff. He's actually a friend of TopRamen. And Ramen does like to play some Zerg every now and then, but clearly the main race Terran, right? And so the TVZ practice is actually going to be pretty difficult, right? I think for HitEmUp to come by. and I guess there is another narrative that we can really try and focus on here, just as a thing to bring up, is that HitEmUp is a player who experiences nerves. He describes himself as a practice bourgeois. He thinks that he can just win any game in practice, even games that he's horribly behind in. He can find a way to like find success in, and he doesn't necessarily like care too much about the results there. He does a lot of silly experimentation. And then when it comes to tournament games, that's when the nerves can get to him. And that's something that he himself has said. I'm not really talking out of school to say that. So, you know, there's many circumstances that you can point to that like, oh, you know, did this guy, did he get enough practice in? Did he do this? Did he do that? How is his play going? I think HitEmUp has the play down, and he's got some theory about how to handle things in a hypothetical matchup of any particular race combination, having played random for so long. He kind of knows what the Zerg want to do, and he even suspects that Veek has been trying to practice the build that HitEmUp himself designed, which is the triple Larvosk in one base. So I'm interested. I'm interested in seeing how that one goes. And yes, indeed, we did see that versus Shopkeeper Dogs. So Veek has tried to leverage that. However, HitEmUp did say that if Veek doesn't do it properly, he can die in like the immediate opening of the game. So that's kind of interesting.
Well, he's weak to early aggression.
Yes, sure. and apparently HitEmUp has some plans for that. So I'm very interested in that. Let's go over the map pool. Yeah. So we're looking at the map pool on the stream right now. Obviously, we have a couple of maps here by Veek7 himself. We've got Cold Sweat and Impetus. We've got a couple of maps, of course, by Biddy B. That's Paradise, Blackwater Bastion, and Genesis Y. Oblivion by Beaver and Rage Slave by myself, funnily enough, a map that HitEmUp himself requested with his donator money, so big bucks go to him, and I would definitely expect that to be featured at some point in our set. Let me go ahead and pull out the lovingly detailed pick ban that we've got kicking around here in just a moment. So Genesis Y is going to be where we start things off, and this is a map that is based on Blitz Y, which is an ASL map for it's even currently in the ladder, I believe, for if you were to play remastered for some silly reason. And then obviously map 2 that's picked by Veek is actually going to be Cold Sweat, his most recent creation that has been added to the pool. So home field advantage for him. I'm reading ahead a little bit here. Rage Slave was picked as map 3 by HitEmUp, and then Veek picked Impetus, his other map. So he's trying to go to the home field advantage overall. And if we need the decider, if we go all 5 games, the decider will be Paradise. Just to let you guys know what we're kicking up over here. I just want to quickly take a look at the bans, because those can kind of tell their own story sometimes. Oblivion was banned by HitEmUp. That's a map that I haven't actually seen him play too much on. I don't know if he banned it because of a particular reason that he believes like the map has this style to it, or if he just hasn't played it that much and that's why he's gotten rid of it. The second ban was obviously from Veek, and he banned Blackwater. And that's a 4-spawn map, so actually that might signal to me that maybe Veek is trying to limit the number of times you go for the 4 spawns, right? Because, at that point, Maxium got discarded. It wasn't picked up by the pick ban. That's the other 4 spawn. So there's only going to be one 4-spawn map that we see featured in this pick ban, and it's the decider. So based on this veto, if Veek or if HitEmUp were trying to look to minimize the amount of spawn RNG that can impact the matchups, I think they got what they were looking for. We might see a very explosive set out of these guys in terms of the high frenetic action that we can sometimes see in this game. So that's my thinking based on the map veto and how that has all gone. This is obviously the first main event that we're actually doing a pick ban style instead of just a straight up ban. This is a situation where we are actually having in this case, you ban 2 maps, like 1 each, and then you have 6 left over. You need 5, so one of them is going to get discarded when after all of the maps are picked. But it's just a sort of back and forth draft of you deciding which map you want, and I think that does lead to some interesting results. Like this kind of series.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. I would think that going back to the triple Larvosk thing I would think that'd be beneficial more on a 4-spawn. Because the opponent is a lot less likely to all-in aggro on a 4-spawn, because they could just kind of end up nowhere, and it's a little bit of a waste. Unless it just happened to scout you right. I think many people are probably more likely to be slightly more either eco or defensive on that, which would give him more freedom. If he's going to do the triple Larvosk against the guy who invented it and no doubt knows its weaknesses, and then it's going to be going into smaller or fixed maps, then he's going to have to come and do it with a strategy, because I think HitEmUp's going to be looking for that and ready to capitalize on it on a moment's notice. And if that's what he's building his whole tournament strategy on, then we're kind of probably going to see a disaster unfold. So it's going to be interesting. It's picking all the maps beforehand is that also can be kind of challenging, I think, too, because I mentioned it a few times, but there are overarching strategies that you would employ for a best of 5. And while a best of 5 is not super mega huge, like a best of 7 or a best of 9 or something like that, it does still have a dynamic, especially if you start trading matches.
Yes.
Where you might see players open with safe games and then go into aggro games to try to throw things off. That pacing can change depending on how those first 2 matches go, and you suddenly decide you want to do something different, but now the map pool has already been fixed. So you have to have some kind of, at least an idea of how all the maps function, having a fairly comfortable approach to any given maps, especially if you're someone like HitEmUp, who you were saying can have stage anxiety, because that can get to you, especially later on. So if you're thinking, if you're getting sweaty by the 4th, 5th match, you maybe don't want a super high aggro match in those areas, because that's going to be when the nerves are going to be the worst. You may want a slower game to help you go down, or maybe he's the kind of person who functions best just keeping it high aggro. So that's definitely the kind of thing you got to keep in mind when you're doing the pick ban and then looking at something like this, because the dynamic of the matches and the player psychology can evolve, especially if it's very evenly matched. And you have to be kind of thinking ahead when you're looking at the picks for that. Not that the map pool is like super mega giga huge and you have to think between like 20 different maps to really make the calls, but especially when you're choosing between 2 spawns and 4 spawns maps, if you're looking for just like 4 spawns in the very beginning and then 2 spawns all after that, you could have a very long match that sets you into a certain mindset, and then everything after that's very aggro. So definitely need to be looking at the map pool and thinking, how am I going to be feeling 2 matches in? How am I going to be feeling possibly 4 matches in? What is this going to look like at the decider? Maybe I don't want to have 2 potentially long 4 spawn matches back to back. Maybe that's when I'll thrive the most, because maybe my opponent will be fatigued. Like in my case, I think I would go for something slightly more aggro early on to get my pace, and then go for longer matches where I'm at my strongest later into the matches. So definitely something you can try to extrapolate from there. I don't think a lot of people are going to really think about that, but I think especially if you're spamming games a lot, like HitEmUp was doing, is definitely looking at the map pool will definitely be something he'll be thinking about.
Well, I think that covers our thoughts on the maps pretty nicely. I mean, particularly Genesis Y is a 2-spawn map that has vertical spawns, and that's where we'll be starting our journey. One of the things that I'm always interested in is, well, the upper seed, HitEmUp in this case, obviously, was able to select the first map. Does he have a plan for that, or is this more of a comfort pick? So what do you say, Mesk? You ready to get started?
Yep, let's see what our boys got for us. Let's see what they're cooking.
Let's see what they're cooking. Veek7, the co-developer, coming in as the underdog versus HitEmUp, perhaps the best damn player to play the game so far. We are jumping into it, and HitEmUp's Tyrant in the top right. I'm going to go ahead and guess this is Cyan. Well, I'm right.
Oh my god, that's cheating.
And then down here
Developer hacks.
in the bottom right, we've got the Dev Clan representing Veek7. I have no idea what this color is, unfortunately, so I'm going to let you guys all down. Is it mahogany? Chestnut. I haven't seen chestnut in 100 years, dude. Annihilated.
Destroyed. Annihilated.
Well,
this is the map with the destructible kind of like pine cones and the main choke there.
That's right.
Which we have seen a Terran versus Zerg interaction in the last matches with Shopkeeper Dog. And how badly that can go for the Zerg if they get choked up in there fighting against Cyclops.
Whoa, hold that thought. This is a pool first. I haven't seen Veek do this ever. This is a straight up 7 pool.
Early pool here. Yeah. This is I think maybe Veek looks at that first map pick and is like, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do what my coach, my senpai, my Sifu, 3 Crow taught me to do.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, you're looking at it, right? And it's straight up the fulcrum's halfway done. We're gonna have probably a unit out, and it's Quasilisks, boys. It's Quasilisks.
I didn't know you were playing this map. Literally building nothing but Quasis. There's no gas on the way. This is Yeah, this is four sets of quasis. This is pretty all in.
Pretty heavy forward. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Ben Taberski just sent a chat message in our stream as this happened. So clearly he is a time traveling man informing Veek7 that he needs to early pool. It's a 7 pool, not an 8 pool. That's a big difference. Ben will tell you, but I don't know, man.
HitEmUp, I think, is saving for his quarry.
Yep, most likely. No, it's a star pad. Okay, well, this is actually really hard for him. He's going to struggle a lot to get the units out in time.
Now, he's going to definitely want to put like an anchor down or something here. He's going to hang out behind these lobsters, but he's got his one Cyclops coming. Early lobsters are popped. The Biotic Bastion has been stunned. Getting a few early hits here off the ledge, but the tickles are en route, but the quasis are a little bit choked up. He wants to keep them on the ledge, or at least in one group, so he's just going to keep backpedaling, using that fulcrum to kind of throttle them. The vulture's already dead. He's going to pull the boys. They're coming. They're coming.
Remember,
they're biting.
Veek's only got 6 workers back here. Another Cyclops about to pop out. He needs to do a lot of worker damage in order to make this worthwhile. He has not made a worker. He has not made a workers.
One Cyclops down.
Oh, boy.
The other one's sitting at half health here. Every single minute that HitEmUp's caught in this is a minute. He's not using those workers. He's got a couple of them harvesting. Okay, here we go. They're all out now.
Oh, my goodness.
There is a Wraith on the way. That Wraith may just beeline straight to Veek's base. He's got to do as much damage here as he possibly can. He doesn't know
Cyclops,
about the Star Pad's existence.
It goes down. Yet another one goes down. He didn't have resources banked up because of the Wraith. He didn't order another one. He's in trouble now.
Veek thinks this may be the only production building, but that Wraith.
Oh, okay.
Okay, never mind.
Well, I mean, I have more replays, so clearly that's not the case.
All right, well.
But, all right.
That may have been the nerves, because honestly, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of quasis coming, but he could have hypothetically gone to Veek's base, started killing workers, and maybe try to hold out, wait for a unit to come out, pull again. Like, there was a little bit of wiggle room there. It was definitely a bad spot to be in, but that's actually a pretty vicious round 1 for HitEmUp if nerves are going to be an issue for him in this, because Veek just coming straight out with a 7 pool is definitely uncharacteristic of him. I don't usually think of Veek and Cheese hand in hand, but Three Crows energy definitely smiles upon him in this one. The Biddy Bee power also smiles upon him. Definitely got some of that dad energy. And that immediately drops the first map. If that first map was his initial pick as a comfort pick, that'll just make it feel even worse.
That's rough, man. That's rough. You don't ever want to feel so down on your luck that you have to resort to, thinking that you can't play anymore. But I mean, again, we did get more replays. So unless these are frauds, I was told that the series was completed. So that's fine. That's all good.
I don't know. If you get 7 pulled, can you go on?
Can you go on? Yeah, it's a good
Is there
question.
a future for you?
I think so. There must be. Surely.
Maybe. He's just got to hit him up is all.
He's got to hit him up. I'm trying to figure out why apparently there's some stream instability for whatever reason. I'm not really sure what that could be. Apparently it's internet, but I wonder if it's like a YouTube thing.
Is OBS showing you the piss bar or the yellow bar?
You know that connection bar where it says kilobytes per second down there in the bottom where you're streaming, and there's that like signal bar that rises up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that occasionally will go down to red. But my speed test shows fine, so even during the time where it was going down to red, so there's no.
Well, I would say it's the service, but historically I haven't really seen that happening. It could be. What is your bitrate set to?
Like 8K, I think. Not very high.
8K is
6K maybe. I can't remember.
8K is pretty high. Depending on your connection. I definitely wouldn't stream 8K.
Well, I've got a gigabit connection. It looks like my bitrate is 5.5K, so it's not actually that high.
Okay.
Although OBS says I'm streaming at 6K, so XD. But anyway, it probably goes over a little bit if allowed to.
It might be choking.
Yeah, there's something weird going on with that. But hopefully it clears up.
Because you can't feed Twitch like that much. Like HKS had this issue too, trying to stream high
Yeah.
amounts of bitrate is it just started choking a lot at that point, and it really shouldn't because your connection is fast, but it does. And the RTMP was much like you could send like 10K plus over RTMP and you wouldn't have any issues. You try to send so much over Twitch,
Yeah.
it starts to
Well,
have problems.
I think it's for both YouTube and Twitch because I'm multi-streaming it. So I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's watching on Twitch and they don't have the same issues. It's hard to know
Yeah,
that.
I don't know about YouTube.
But yeah, I think YouTube is having a field day with it. But if it's showing up on my end as well for OBS, it's probably for both.
Yeah, that means there's definitely something's choking the connection somehow.
Yeah, it looks
Make
like
sure you're not running on Wi-Fi. Turn off your porn. Turn off your torrents. Turn off your LimeWire. Turn off your Kazaa. Turn off your Napster. Turn off your WinMX. Turn off your Usenet.
Yeah, I don't have anything else going on my network, and it's the connection is robust enough that again it's a gigabit plan, so there's not really any reason for it to be bucking now.
Well, there is a Canadian in your lobby, and that caused you a lot of problems.
Oh, Discord. That would be really funny if that's what it was.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. I mean, the only site that gives me even like a tenth of my rated connection speed is a Mega of all things. So.
Oh, nice. Well,
I'm paying $140. I usually get like 300 kilobytes tops.
I did just see that the EA app that tried to install and then didn't work properly to try to launch a game that I paid money for via Steam, so then I had to torrent that game, did indeed have a background process running. But I don't think that's actually...
Make sure Steam is not running too, because Steam will randomly like download stuff automatically, and Steam will...
No, it's not on, no. But it was a good idea. Very silly.
So, do you think HitEmUp is busting out the cold sweat? Or do you think Veek, now that he's rattled his opponent, is going to go back to his comfort zone, is going to get spanked, and is going to resort back to 7 pool, win again, go back to a macro game in match number 4, and then end the whole thing on match 5 with another 7 pool?
I think it could be likely that if HitEmUp bites back in this game, we could see another 7 pull. I don't think he's going to do it twice in a row. I mean, maybe though. No. He might try to abuse, in air quotes, fact that the maybe he thinks, oh, the 7 pull really got on his nerves. Let me do it again. Like maybe that could happen. I just feel like that's not usually how Veek goes. Veek does subscribe to that methodology of like, you used this thing, let's keep it in the back pocket for if we feel like we need to, and then just chill, just see what we can do. Just use it later.
I'm going to steal the 13 Stormgate viewers.
Classic move.
They're all bots, too. They're just astroturfed.
Classic move. Yeah, guys, the lag is something due to either OBS or some fleeting internet issue, but it's apparently video only, according to Veek. The audio is fine. So just think of it like a radio play occasionally. No worries. All right.
Yeah, he can provide theater of mind.
That's right. We'll have to be very descriptive with the calls. That's all. Yep. So, let's get into game number 2. We're going to Cold Sweat. It's Veek7's map. He's up 1-0, which is not how we thought this was going to go, at least not that exact way. And he is going to be in the top left here, as this time around I'm going to say he is... Oh, man. This could be Auburn or Mahogany or Redwood. Oh, it was Auburn. Fuck. Well, you know what? That's like 1/3 of the way correct. HitEmUp down here in the bottom right. This isn't just regular green, but it's also not asparagus, and those are the only 2 greens I know. Vine green? Oh, I got it. Okay.
Oh.
Wow. Saved. Just like HitEmUp.
The betting pool is in shambles.
That's right. We're at a 50.33% or whatever guess rate, because I counted the 1/3 that I got just now from Veek's color.
Well, look at this. HitEmUp is busting out something different now, too. He's going bio.
Oh, maybe he likes the idea of going for fast bio units to hold an early pool. It does come online faster than the Fulcrum.
I think this is going to be aggro, too, because you notice he's not going for that gas this time.
Yeah.
He's not looking to go straight into the quarry. Whereas Veek is going Kagran first.
Yeah, so this could be interesting.
He is defaulting to something more standard, I guess, at this point.
Well, Cold Sweat is a map that, I mean, there's not really a map besides like Rage Slave. If somebody spawns in the middle, like if the Zerg spawns in the middle, the mid right position on Rage Slave, they can get rushed down pretty easy from the bottom left spawn in particular. But other than that, there's not really like a map in the pool that lets you immediately punish this from this exact position where the pool's already half done, the Larvosk is half done. This feels like HitEmUp would have had to like forward stockade it in order to really make it happen. So this might actually be a little bit more of a normalized game because it's not like Veek can abuse some kind of timing attack off of the 2 larva production and the pool finishing to beat down a Tyrant who's going stockade into Fulcrum, right?
Switch straight to Fulcrum now.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, you're doing this. I guess I'll go to Fulcrum and just continue my build as I normally would have. Definitely, I feel like he was definitely concerned about a second 7 pool or something like that because he's still pumping out Mavericks. I mean, he may as well at this point, but he had them coming up pretty quick, and there was no gas harvesting at all. He switched off of that when he started seeing, oh, okay. There was definitely some timidness about the beginning of that match. Definitely didn't want to get punked a second time.
I'm not sure if Veek was busy doing something else, but it looked to me like he didn't even pan his screen over when his worker was under attack. Maybe I just missed it, but now we have a Covenant coming up in the background, and Veek had no opportunity to scout what the complexion of the Terran base was. Does he have a quarry? Does he not? That's the real important question. But also the presence of a Fulcrum or maybe a star pad for a fast drop. These are all possibilities that now Veek has to consider. So I would not be surprised if Veek ends up playing a little bit more defensively, and that could play directly into the Eidolon opener hands. Because if you think about how Eidolons work, you do need a good number of them baseline, which is going to be hard to do when you're so low eco at this point. And that, getting a little bit more time before any aggression happens on the map, we are going to see the triple Larvosk 1 base. So looks like Veek is happy to dance around with this.
Yeah, HitEmUp's got all of his gas hard saturated. Just trying to get those Eidolons out. Just Eidolon Cyclops. This is going to be pretty scary if Veek attempts some kind of early aggression here because there's just so much front-loaded power in there that Quasilisks alone are going to have a hard time forcing their way up that ramp in small numbers. But eventually, there's going to be a base that's taken by HitEmUp. And I feel like if HitEmUp is permitted to take this extra base, completely uncontested, and he starts getting some crazy number of Eidolons, then this could get out of hand quite a lot. Because I noticed that basically for him, once he gets like the double base up, adds in his extra set of buildings, he starts to kind of get off the rails if you allow him to. So I feel like Veek is definitely going to want to have some kind of an aggro plan. At this point, his expansion is up faster, and the worker count is about the same. So it really comes down to when HitEmUp decides to take his base, or maybe he might try to do something aggro. He's got the watchdog floating around there, setting up shop. He's going to see a lot of Zeths come out here, so he might think there could be some attempt at an early bust coming. He might decide to be a little bit more defensive, but as it is, we have 3 Eidolons and 4 Cyclops. In his current position, he might even be able to hold against this army, but the longer Veek goes, right now it's just mostly workers on the way. I don't know, will Veek go straight to like Lyralisks again?
Yeah, it could be an option. I mean,
a bust. Oh, the Tyrant is actually moving out, so he does decide he wants to go aggro here.
That's interesting. He did not scout the full scale of this army from Veek. He might get surprised here, but the Vulture pretty far forward is going to get a little bit of advanced warning. It's not much. The stim isn't even popping just yet, but those Eidolons are going to get run on down, and HitEmUp needs to really lean on these Cyclops here. He does end up just eliminating most of those Quasis on the front line, and I think honestly one of the things that helped HitEmUp a lot there is that a lot of those Quasis got caught up on the Watchdog with the attack move. Preemptive split from Veek, trying to see what he can do. He's only brought down 1 Cyclops. There goes another. Maybe this last one. Yeah, not quite there because the chase down not exactly possible. Now Veek in a tough spot. Only has a couple of Quasis to his name for defensive units. HitEmUp moved out and was able to defeat the army. I think a lot. Actually, the more I think about it, I think that Watchdog scout ended up being super significant because it did occupy so much of those extra reinforcement Quasis at a point where Veek was actually in a really potentially winning position for the army. And that is going to conclude it in favor of HitEmUp. These are real fast games.
You actually lagged on Discord during that, which was kind of funny.
Oh, there you go.
I think your internet may just be having some issues.
Well, ironically, I didn't see any OBS lag that time, so just you.
Yeah, no, it was like in the middle of the fight you just cut out, and I was like, oh, is he gonna DC in the middle of the fight?
No, I'll go.
It's Yeah, no, that was pretty rough. Veek had the initial split, and then the units started condensing again in the front, and then he pulled out. And at that point, he should have really waited for some reinforcements, even if the base takes a little bit of damage, and then come in with a stronger force, because there's still a chunk of Eidolons there that are going to just shred through a tiny amount of quasis really, really fast. You really need the extra numbers, maybe a bit more Zeths or something to take the initial shots to get another surround and start revealing them. Unfortunately, I think it was Veek's nerves at that point that got tickled.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I'm thinking about that game and how, like, just he was probably trying to micro the units on the front, didn't notice that Watchdog Scout intercepting. I don't even know if HitEmUp noticed, to be honest. Like, that's such a minute detail there with the attack move. Obviously, is going to say, hey, there's a unit to attack. And that is something that I think really helped HitEmUp out, because he had an army that on paper really... It's like a 50-50 fight versus what happened, and yet he lived with so many assets that he was able to continue the push. As Veek was building around workers, that's when the move out was starting to, like, the armies were starting to make contact as the worker round was happening, right? So that's rough, man. That's difficult. So let's see what happens. We're going to have to go to Rage Slave. This is a map pick of HitEmUp. They've traded each other's map picks so far, but it's been very aggro. Let's see what happens as we get into things. We've got HitEmUp in the top left. No close spawn this time. Nobody in the mid right. This is going to be, I'm going to guess, Vivid Red? Oh, fuck. I was going to say Vermilion, too. And Veek 7 in the bottom left. Chestnut again? Yeah, okay. Saved. As long as I guess one accurate each time, but then I finish with with 2 accurate, then technically I've passed, according to the very, very successful American education system. So just remember that, guys. Yeah, true. Just remember.
You're really riding that curve, definitely.
Well, now that our players are a little bit further away from each other, this is somewhat equivalent in some ways to Genesis Y, but I would argue that it's a little bit harder to actually kill somebody from this position, unless you're going to go for a very particular, like, drop-oriented play or something. Let's see what ends up happening here. Veek's actually going to scout pretty fast this time around, and he is scouting the right way, so he will find HitEmUp fast. And it is a Fulcrum opener, something a little bit different. I mean, I guess you can technically say this is kind of like what he did on game 1. But, you know, Veek down here going for that Kagran again. He's not going to be 7 pooling, so we got a chance at a longer game between these two.
Yeah, the Fulcrum first would be considered unusual for this matchup at this point, but it's more or less standard. He finally gets to go his standard opening, as Veek is pretty much doing the same thing as he was going to do in the second match here for that very, very early Larvosk. And he will scout, as opposed to the second match where he was denied any information about the tech whatsoever. Actually, when you think about it, in both games, Veek wasn't aware of either tech switch.
Yes.
Which means that if HitEmUp wanted to go Wraiths again at this point, he could.
I think the early star pad was actually for a Cyclops drop. That's something that I've heard HitEmUp enjoys doing every now and then. So that's interesting to me. I think that's something that, in my opinion...
I think it can work against this build for the Zerg, especially if they're out in their Nat.
Yep.
Like Veek was in the second game, then yeah, you can catch them off and maybe get a couple kills in. Especially if they're slower to respond.
Oh, look at that. Here it comes.
And the Shambler is hiding.
He is hiding.
So the no vulture first is really key in this. There's going to be none of those early lobsters. I feel like this might be early aggro again from HitEmUp.
Well, yeah, I mean, the star pad's already halfway done, so I think it's definitely going to work.
The vulture, I think, is definitely very indicative of a more passive early game for him, because he definitely doesn't treat the vulture. Actually, most of the Tyrants at this point are not treating the vulture as early aggro anymore. They're treating it really as about like delaying possible early aggro to get the Cyclops afterwards and then hold. We very well could see a drop here, and yeah, it could come at about the time Veek starts making an expansion. And if he goes out to defend that expansion, then it's really going to come down to his reflexes. He may not. He's going to have a chunk of military units here, but like I said, they may move out to defend that expansion because he's going to have enough money for it at this rate quite soon.
Yeah, the other thing that's a little bit weird about this build, right, is that HitEmUp, he shows all of the Cyclops early. That's going to make you not want to move out as the Zerg.
Yeah.
And then if you don't move out, then I guess you can respond to the drop easier, but still, like you're saying, maybe you're trying to split your forces to anticipate the ground push. There's no
Yeah,
information
Veek
at all
suspects
here
an
for
early
Veek.
bust here. He
Yeah.
won't even try to expand. He'll just be like, oh, okay, I'll deflect and then expand. So he's building that third Larvosk. He's dumping everything into workers, looking for eventually to saturate here, which means there won't be an early expansion. He's definitely wary about that. And if he's got good reflexes, he can definitely catch this.
Oh,
He's not going to drop them straight on top of the resource line here. So it's all down to Veek's reflexes at this point. There you go.
Okay, first couple of salvos.
They're kind of caught on each other. He doesn't have vision of his expansion there. Or he does have vision of one mineral field, but...
Right, trying to drill maybe, but not going to happen. Now he's actually...
But his army is getting stuck on the worker that's spinning, and now they're getting throttled. There's definitely a lot of damage coming out of this.
Yeah, big time. I mean, that's a good military victory that cancels any opportunity for a counterattack right there. And Veek still hasn't responded with his workers back, so that's a lot of lost mining time on top of the one worker kill.
Vicious. And he lost all but one quasi on top of it, so...
Yeah, how's he going to hold the
follow-up? Now the Tyrant
up?
doesn't have to drop anymore. In fact, the Tyrant even has an Anseal out. HitEmUp at this point can go for the kill.
That's crazy.
Even if this circuit finishes, he can use the Anseal to sustain it, ignore it, go around, back up top, and then either kill workers or kill the Larvosks. Either ones would be disastrous for Veek at this point.
Oh, look at this. He might even pull the quasis, what little that exist, away. Look, Veek trying to go for the workers here. It's a little bit of a greedy play. Shows a little bit of quasi, shows the circuits, so maybe HitEmUp will second guess himself. But make no mistake, I mean, we're looking at his base. He's expanding, adding 2 more fulcrums.
He is actually pulling back, yeah.
Interesting.
He definitely could go for the kill at this moment.
Yeah, I feel like I'm right there with you. I mean, Veek had no idea that the army was right there either, so...
Yep. There's definitely well more than enough firepower to kill. Like, Veek has less units than he has, and they're just quasis. And now he's got a handful more, but again, if these were already in his base with an Anseal, you have to do a lot of damage to cut through it, with not very much. But HitEmUp has instead opted to go for a fairly defensive play here, going back into Vultures. He's got the quarry coming up and as an expansion. You might see one show up in the main at some point soon, because he's starting to bank up a little bit of money here. He's got third Fulcrum finished. He may just be like, okay, I guess I'll just play it safe and just I did damage and I'll just bulk up. But Veek is going for the Zorkus.
That's right, and an expansion behind it as well. So I think at this point Veek should be in an okay position to at least extend play, at least get a little bit further along in the game. He's keeping up with the worker count, and obviously he can surge ahead if he ever feels safe enough to. But he still doesn't really know too much. His one quasi-scout figures out where the army is, so at least then he probably feels pretty safe. And he catches the Trojan. That will not be going to be... That's not going to be used for a scout or anything. HitEmUp's going to go ahead and take that opportunity to move forward.
Yeah, I personally would have tried to keep the Trojan alive to do a fork attack here because his military is still quite substantial. But he must have felt like that what he saw is more than enough information for him to go on the offense. I feel like if Veek makes, which he is making, Lekizlisks,
yeah,
this is going to be very dangerous because while they could do a lot of damage, they're still quite a ways out. And there is already detection on behalf of the Tyrant.
Oh my goodness.
Look how much damage he took from that. He has to split apart, which the Tyrant doesn't care about. He doesn't have to go in to engage. All he really wants to do is just kill this expansion. And then Veek at this point is forced to react to him. Here comes the Lekizlisks. The bust has to happen now, forcing him out. Manages to save that base for now.
So far, so good. I mean, those Lakids can take further forward positions. You can start reinforcing this with circuits once the Kager spreads fast enough.
I kind of expected HitEmUp to just like march up the ramp and try to finish them off before they could do too much. But he did not feel confident about that. Now at this stage, yep, the Palladium's coming. He's probably just going to wait for a few phalanxes and then siege this out. So it gives Veek a little bit of a window of opportunity to do something here. We can see that the Hydrith Den is coming out next, and he may well just go straight to Bactylisks, using the Lekizlisks as a wedge to kind of just buy him some breathing space.
Yeah.
But I feel like that only works about halfway because you're giving HitEmUp complete map dominance, and he's already quite far ahead in the match. And meanwhile, he's going to be tickling into here, and if tanks start attacking and you're on 2 bases against the Tyrant, it's probably looking to take a 3rd base at this rate. Well, it's going to be a difficult thing to go. I think, honestly, going maybe even Gorgakor is doing a flank and then all letting him killing the army might have been possible if you didn't really have the resources to get really a lot of them.
Yeah.
If he does get Bactylisks, and if he can get them before the phalanxes do too much damage, then he might have a fighting chance. But It's definitely an uphill climb. Look at all of those eggs, but a chunk of them are workers.
Yeah, that's right. And it is going to be a ski back. So he will have the availability of the Bactalisk. I don't know if he has the time, frankly, despite the fact that HitEmUp is going to go ahead and be a little bit conservative with this approach. He's got his treasuries coming. He's obviously going to be going for that third base. Second Palladium coming out. A nice attempt by Veek to try to go for an expansion here just in case, but obviously not going to be allowed. At least he gets the worker out. Maybe that was even a misrally.
Veek is deciding, okay, I'm going to go in.
Yeah.
Like,
Needs those burrows.
Getting a little caught up on the front line here.
Two of them go down before any shots are fired, and a Phalanx focus out of that one. Now the Hydras are going to get peppered down, and I think that's it. I don't think Veek has what he needs.
He didn't wait for his Bactalisks. He felt like he had to go now.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
rough.
I felt like if Veek abused that ledge with the Bactalisks and managed to get a few surprise picks off, if he hit him up to try to all-in him, he might be able to damage the contain, but it was definitely a ticking clock either way.
That's difficult, right? Because you look at that, the way that went, and what it seems like to me is that Veek was pretty far behind just from the drop. Maybe he hadn't ever experienced that before. And on top of that, we saw him obviously have a little bit of a, like, he was very, very scared of the Cyclops killing all of his workers. But I feel like he would have been able to start mining a bit faster than that, especially since the Quasis were pushing the Cyclops around. That might have helped him a little bit, like little optimizations he could have tried to do to get out of that bad situation. And then I think the Zorkis is interesting. It's a fine idea. However, I do think that you either need more Lakis or maybe try the Gorgs like you were saying, because then the Cyclops are busy attacking an air army that's not in the same space as the ground army. So in theory, like you're not going to splash too many of your own units. That would give the Lakis the opportunity to move forward. But if the Phalanx comes, then you saw like Veek felt like he had to go immediately. When I think maybe he could have delayed it a little bit. Like, I don't hate his game plan. I think it definitely could have worked out, but it's a tough spot to be behind like that. And I mean, he wasn't exactly behind in the second game either, but now in this game, you drop two in fairly quick succession. At least we're going back to, Veek 7 home territory here with Impetus as map 4. But at this point, HitEmUp is probably starting to feel those nerves go away, solidify and feel like, okay, wait, it's back to how it was. Let's see what happens on Impetus. It's the 2-spawn map with, I would say, the longest cross distance in order to get to your opponent's base. But that never stopped people from being silly before. Veek 7 in the bottom left. I'm going to go ahead and say this is Chestnut yet again. All right. And HitEmUp in the top right. Is this turquoise? Oh, it's eggshell blue. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we get game 5 so I have an opportunity to, defend myself.
50-50 is 100%.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. There you go. Well, in that case, I win. I am an American. And Mask, I don't see anything in production for Veek. So, are we going to get game 5? It's a 7 pool, baby. Bitty B smiles.
Bitty B smiles in the reflection of the pool.
Glad we had the same line, the same exact thought. That's it.
I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me to see HitEmUp do something very defensive. Ah, there it is. There it is. Honestly, I would almost expect to see double stockade. I feel like HitEmUp should be very, very confident about his mid-game and end-game in this. In that if he avoids getting surprised too much in the beginning, like in the first match,
right,
he should feel like he can take it. He doesn't really have any reason to be discouraged by that at the moment. So definitely not surprised at all to see the stockade first. And he may just go back into a transition, just like the second game, going to Eidolons or something like that. It worked out pretty well.
Second stockade?
It is a double stockade after all. Yeah. I still say you might see some drops or something, but he can just go safely to Eidolons or something after this. He definitely wants to be a little bit more defensive. Now,
no Vespian harvested at all yet from our Terran players. So just to
wants to get a bunch of Mavericks here. He wants to buffer the early game, even if it means he's a little slower than he would like to be at getting that eco. But you might see him go like Ahmed or something like that too. You have a little bit. Like I said, I think he can be pretty comfortable having a little bit of a slower intro here. And of course, he scouts that, so now he's going to build an anchor. So he's like, okay, I am not going to leave this any window to be naughty. I'm going to build an anchor here. The longer map distance means he's got plenty of time to set this up. But if Veek is... we can hypothetically still get something out of this, even if the offense doesn't do much damage, because he can sit there and deny the Terran the second base for a while and start ecoing, but HitEmUp is got a significant worker advantage.
Well,
he sees defeat there, a little wiggle.
The problem is that there's no gas mine for Veek either, right? So we're talking about a 0 gas game. Is this massacre? Question mark. The Maverick does end up going down. He's going to try to bust down the anchor. No Mason over here.
There.
Yeah, we like that burrow, but there's the stim coming in, and that just eviscerates the quasis. Yep. Oh, they even get slapped down before they can get out. I felt like maybe if he had gathered together his quasis, and now he's going into Zeths. That's a fine idea. If you get the Zeths around the anchor, they can shred the anchor so fast. Like it just does not work out for it. The DPS is too strong. And either way, your quasis are going to stay alive longer. That's going to be better for the Mavericks. Your Zeths stay alive longer. Well, that's better for the structures. Like, these are all things that are fine, like, either way it goes. But unfortunately, that's not what Veek decided to go for. And there is a Harakan.
When you get a Vorv and you slow down the anchor, does it slow down the attack rate of everything inside of it?
No. Because it's like, that's something we do want to eventually probably do. It would make sense. But we haven't done that yet. It's actually probably pretty easy. We just for loop the contents of it. So it's probably something we can add.
Yeah,
I've been on the fence as to whether or not it should apply or not.
When you think about the Tyrant at this stage, they're definitely going to get some Ahmed, which is pretty beefy.
Oh, a Cyprian as well.
And you see as a Cyprian, it's like, oh, okay. At this stage, as the Zerg, it's a losing game to try to bust this. You can't really bust this anymore when the Cyprian's appear. You either need to get heavy ground, which you're not in really much of an economic space with tech switch at this point, or you have to sit here, contain, and hope for the absolute best that you can get some picks out when he tries to move out. If you manage to kill these 3 Cyprians and then lose your army, depending on what situation you are back home, that can actually still turn out to be kind of a win. Not the kind of win you wanted, but they're very expensive. Problem is, Veek doesn't have very much to work with at this point. So the Terran could sit on top of this ledge here, I think, and probably get a few tickles in on that one Quaslisk. And definitely something you could definitely think about, especially putting the anchor up there at this point when you've already done a lot of damage. You want to start thinning out, making the Zerg panic and think, oh, the Terran's going to move out. I better build some more units. But HitEmUp decides to be the honorable man and move out here and give Crazy Mountaineer a little tickle before sending him back home. Oh, but now he's coming back. The cat came back. This is kind of dangerous. If the Terran is moving out and you die face first into the Cyprians, it's going to be all over. But Veek knows he has to try to stop this expansion somehow, so he's mustering his merry, tickly, wiggly men and starting to normalize his build order back home.
Still down by so many workers. He's put down the Larvas, he's put down the Hatch, but a treasury on site. You know, the add-on for each add-on here for the stockade. Now there's going to be plenty of units here available. Yeah, scouting Harakan.
Ahmed departs. He really wants to see what Veek is doing. He's already sent one worker out that died.
Yeah.
So he's going to send out Ahmed, and Veek wants to try to kill
this.
He
could have.
No.
I think he thought maybe he's only got 2 health. Surely he'll bleed out. That's not the kind of game this is. Little bit of micro. Little bit of micro. No, not going to happen. And even look, the rest of the army's moving out at the same time.
HitEmUp is reading the room, and he's like, okay, you're devoting hard to killing this. There's no reinforcements coming up to intercept me.
Yeah.
Obviously, you do not have much of an army at this point.
Right.
So I can move out, and very intentionally going in an unusual direction because he wants to avoid this army, and he thinks it might come back to try to soft contain him. He's still got the anchor back home, still got some other units. And I thought there might even be like a Trojan coming that he just shuttles it over this ledge. But no, I think he's kind of hoping he avoids the army and hits the expansion.
Yes.
And he's going to run face first into the army anyways. But at this stage,
I think he's got the winning formula here. Yeah, I think he can clear this. It would require a heroic effort here from Veek to stay alive. He has no Kager on the low ground yet for any static defense. Preemptive stim on the Mavs. They're going to go ahead and pocket themselves off.
They go into the walls.
Oh, yeah, look at that. He can actually flank and start hitting these Cyprians. Doing some okay splash damage, but that's not going to be enough, my friends. These Cyprians are going to end up going down, and that worked out phenomenally. You think about the way that worked, right? There were a couple of units that Veek 7 was kind of baiting out behind the sponsor sign. We are sponsored, by the way. Can you believe that? Our sponsor sign. And that's where the fighting took place. I'm sure our sponsors are very happy about that fight. And then, obviously, Harakans died over there right underneath the sponsor sign. And then, you know, there's just, that was it. I mean, that was the front line. The rest of it was a great engagement there for the Zerg. And here's the other sponsor sign, just in case.
That's precisely what Veek wanted to happen in the second game.
Yes.
So at least he got it to happen in this one here, and definitely a costly loss for the Tyrant. All he really killed was a few Quasis and Zeths at the end of the day. Didn't get any damage onto the worker line here. Vika's still behind,
yes,
but he's not as behind.
And yet now he's able to build workers successfully and safely. And that's the thing, is that he did go the Vornath. He's got some Vorvs out. That's going to be okay at trying to intercept and deal with things like the Eidolons, but there's 4 of them up here now. That's enough. You could throw them into the anchor instead of your Mavs if you really wanted to. It looks like the composition. Yeah, the composition seems like he's adding a couple of Cyprians in, but this looks like predominantly Eidolon Hurakan with good healing, right? And so that's going to be a strong front line that stays alive for a very long time and peels for the Eidolons. Positioning going to be a very key asset here, especially as there is no other tech just yet. Now, the Hydra Then's halfway done, but Hydras and I0 cores by themselves, they're going to help out all right, versus specifically Hydras versus the Hurakans can help you burst them down, but
you want
Bactylisks for the bounces. That's going to tie up the Cleric healing. That's going to bounce even onto things like revealed Eidolons, or if you have detection for them, you can really negate a lot of their advantages there. But right now, Vika's going to have to fall on back. He's going to end up losing a couple of units on the way out, or maybe he just sacks this army entirely, but no, decides against it. Not able to get any picks, obviously. He sees the kind of total complexion of this army, and he knows he's going to be in trouble. Once again, I don't think he's going to have time to get the backs up. He doesn't even have the ski back yet.
He doesn't have any circuits, anything at home. Only now is he starting to panic build. Some Hydras are coming, but Vik has some money here, and he kind of needs to save it, because the Hydra Then isn't even morphing at the moment.
No.
So his units are going to get murdered. There's so many... Honestly, the Achmed alone, I think, can end this.
You might be right. I mean, the circuits are going to finish just in time to do a little bit of damage here. He's only got a couple of Hydras over in this spot.
I'm pretty sure the Eidolons can kill those, but I mean, there's so many Achmed.
Yeah.
They can just force it down.
Oh, they're lighting the Hydras behind that circuit on fire as well. This is the last stand of the Polish powerhouse. He's been brought down, I think, by the Terran Bio. Something that Shopkeeper Dog would never do. HitEmUp shows you the policy. This is how you put him in the kennel. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. Those remorphs are coming in, and that circuit just bought a little bit of time. But no, I think
Achmed is burning the workers right now, so the armor shred isn't on those circuits.
Oh, my goodness.
The Eidolons can't finish them off.
Well, the healing is happening powerfully enough that the 5 Eidolons are basically immortal. I think it is going to be GG. It's just a little bit longer than we thought as Achmed chases off the combat units at the north of the ramp. So many minerals have been remorphed in, poured into the static defense, try to keep them alive. But the Eidolons are still able to deal with the poor Hydras. And, I don't know, some units are finally starting to die, but I just don't know if it's enough. No, he's going to fall away.
I
can't believe it. I can't believe it. I thought for sure.
Has abolished the heathens. The pagans are repulsed. Never mind the fact there's like another 30 units coming towards this base.
Yeah, listen, that's not...
By that time, his Hydras may be finished morphing.
Yeah, maybe. Ski back halfway done. Let's see what we can do here, Vik. You got to set those defenses up pronto, but I think they're just going to end up getting sniped from afar. Eidolon's out of combat range. The circuits can't retaliate. They can't even see him.
The clerics are just healing. Oh, and Ansil has arrived.
That's right. No hiding. Nothing you can do. Hurakans once again descended to the worker line. They have burned and incinerated any hope that Vik had of staying alive after the failed 7 pool. And now some Bactylisks will start, but they're about 30 seconds away from completion. I don't know if HitEmUp's going to give them that much grace time.
Well, HitEmUp was like, I'm scared of Hydras. They look like snakes.
HitEmUp might have just walked in, saw the eggs, and thought, oh shit, are those about to hatch? And maybe that's why he decided. But look, he's got a 3rd and 4th setting up simultaneously. He's got 8 stockades.
You might be wondering why Vik hasn't left the game yet. And it's like, oh shit, is there a hidden base somewhere? He's looking for one right now, definitely. Meanwhile, he's got 68, almost 69.
Tier 2 is on the way.
Workers to this is gonna be gross.
Yeah, double stockade being added as well. I mean, double covenant there. 2 quarries at once. That's such as his. He had 2 quarries, 2 covenants, and gas for an Atlas. This man was floating or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
must have had some serious extra cash.
The Sarkaths were giving him PTSD, probably.
Well, this is it. There's no front line for these poor Bactylisks, and a lot of them got mutated.
He's got eggs. Those are front line.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Oh, one Ansil down.
Yeah, could have focused.
Big gains.
Yeah, could have
The eggs
focused
are
it.
tanking. The eggs are tanking. It's very expensive, but they're tanking.
Yeah, I think those were Vorbs, actually, so not as bad. Not as bad.
One of them was a Bacillus.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, man. HitEmUp's army control is getting a little sloppy here. Some of them are focused on the expansion. A bunch of clerics all died in the front, and he's actually forced to retreat again. Veek holds on.
He does hold on. He's
By the skin of his scrotum.
one
he holds
base
on.
to 4. And, you know, admittedly, one of these is not actually saturated. The other one's only half. So 1 base to, I don't know, 2.75. But still.
HitEmUp is now in the blind mode. Okay, there will only be workers from here on. He will mine out the map. The army is 12 to 47.
Yeah.
Do you really need tier 2?
Maybe.
In the words of Shambler, come and fight me.
That's right. He likes to say, come on, tier 3 boy.
Yeah, and then he really regrets it when that happens.
He throws the he throws the scribes at him as well, battle workers style. That's what I remember from his.
He's gonna make some cat facts. I
Yeah.
can feel it.
You remember the game that you went to tier 3 with like 1 diadem and 2 penumbra, and it was enough.
Yeah, for against Shambler.
Yeah.
The 1 penumbra did so much damage.
The glory days. Well, that Anseal might just get sniped. Indeed, it will end up going down. Flew too close to the sun there. Plenty of Hurricanes to try to occupy the damage and stay alive for it. We do have some Eidolons.
So much Akhmet. So much Akhmet.
Yeah, this is looking like it might be the last stand after all because, you know, Veek had the temerity to move out.
Yavleth has arrived.
Yeah, that's it.
Yavleth has departed. And along with it, Veek's
GG.
hopes.
Well, there you go. We do have a winner. 3-1. That's how HitEmUp likes it. He drops that opening match and decides to quickly reassert himself.
We do a little trolling.
We do a little trolling. Yeah, good stuff, man. I gotta say, the fact that we did get to see some nice action out of Veek after all, he scored a dub with his 7-pool antics. I was expecting a little bit more macro, I guess, but you know that's fine. You know,
I mean, you got macro out of HitEmUp. He had 4 bases. What more do you want out of the guy?
That's true.
He had tier 2. The problem is that the timing attacks were so strong from HitEmUp that he would always put Veek in just a terrible situation, or he would just outright win the game. So it was Veek kind of would play volatile games where it's like, I don't really want to build static defense, or I want to be hyper aggro, and then. Yeah, the early stages of the game are really, really volatile, and especially when the Tyrant starts getting that expansion and that worker advantage, you just get stuck in a sticky spot, and definitely he knew that matchup well, so he just responded well enough, and then when he got 7 build, he was like, okay, I kind of read the room, and I know that you're going to try to out-aggro my early Vulture Cyclops, so he adapted, went Stockade first in 2 games, and it worked out.
Yeah, so far so good here for our boy HitEmUp. I am, you know, like obviously it's I try to remain mostly impartial, but as far as seeing like who's like at least being able to predict honestly and say like who did I expect to win, I did expect Veek to be able to put up a fight and at least make it close even if he wasn't able to score games. I will say that the complexion of these matches though, again, the fast like I had an inkling based on the map pool. We could see some really fast matches. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it would be this kind, you know, like I was kind of expecting things to go a little bit differently there. And so
HitEmUp is an aggro player, so I kind
Yeah.
of expected that if he got Veek off kilter early in the match, it would be pretty fast. But if Veek played more defensive, then it might slow out. But Veek wanted to go fast.
yeah,
He put on his Sonic shoes.
Yeah.
He started to eat the hell, and he went fast. So the matches definitely were quite quick.
that's right. That's right. Dude, Hapsea sometimes wears a Sonic hat or suit or whatever. I don't know. I think it's a hat.
Don't wear the Sonic Chew medallion, Hapsaya. It will curse you.
It will. You'll be cursed to play
Don't want to
Stormgate
be
forever.
like everybody else who's ever worn it.
It'll be a disaster. That is a disaster for all. Well, somebody earlier was asking, hey, is this the kind of thing where we have any breaks? And the answer is yes, we do have breaks, short ones between sessions or however long people need for you know myself and my co-caster here, Mesk. So Mesk, how long do you think you need before we get into our second session? Everything looking good for you?
I am gonna go take a leak, and then I'll be pretty much ready to go.
All right, I think we can say about 5 minutes or so before we're back, so everybody else can make like Mesk and go ahead and use the bathroom. We will be back with more of Tyrant's Tale. We're going on to quarterfinal number 2. It's the Shambler taking on Arbu's Budash. I mean,
that'll be
that's an interesting match for me, so I can't wait. Let's see what happens. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in action with more quarterfinals for Tyrant's Tale. We're still in the upper bracket, of course. It's day one. Mesk, we just saw HitEmUp 3-1 Veek 7, the one being a 7 pool. And pretty good stuff there, pretty good stuff. We are going to be taking a look at Arbuz Budesh's Protoss against the Shambler's Zerg. So a different asymmetric matchup here. This is an interesting one for me. Because when I think about these players, I mean, Arbuz and Shambler are seeded number 4 and number 5 respectively. So this is like the close one where it's like really hard to call. Whereas HitEmUp, Veek is the underdog. I would say a significant underdog going against HitEmUp. Mystery Meat, I would say, is an underdog going against Neblime. And then Hamster, TopRamen, that's kind of another 50-50 one for me, where it's like I think either one of those could win. So this is the one where it's going to get really difficult to predict. And insofar as I would say, coming into this, I would imagine, there's some opinions about, maybe the Shambler's playstyle is a little bit one note and like easy to counter, but I haven't actually seen too many people successfully counter it. So I don't even know. I mean, if it's true that it's easily counterable, nobody's really done it yet. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But then we look at Arbuz, and Arbuz is a little bit like the way that he broke onto the scene with one of the very first invitational plays that he did was he came in to May Royal Invitational day 2. He was in one of the day 2 groups. He showed up as like a wild card replacement, funnily enough, for Mystery Meat, who locked himself out of his apartment, and some say he was still there until just now when he came back to us, locked out forever. But that was our headcanon anyway. And then when he comes in, he just shows you that you can spam Ecclesiast Zealot and just charge up people's ramps and kill them, and that really surprised a lot of people. And so it kind of kickstarted this Ecclesiast meta that we've been in, where he didn't have the sort of secondary this idea that gets built up over time where, oh, I haven't played this game before, so I'm just going to come in blind, versus somebody who's seen the unit be tried and then like maybe just assumes that they're bad or whatever. And then, he doesn't have that. He just comes in and he's like, oh, wait, I can just use this. And then he does. So that's how it has been for our man Arbuz. The Shambler obviously been here for a much longer time, has the advantage of seeing the project across many of its phases, one of our most veteran players. So even though he's technically seated below Arbuz, I think either way you slice this one, whoever wins, it wouldn't shock me if either one of these players won or lost. And really, it just comes down to, I think we will see some macro games. I think we will see some longer ones than what we saw versus HitEmUp and Veek. And that means that we get to talk a little bit about the map veto. But before we do you have any thoughts on these players in the current scheme and the current meta?
I think both players like to macro. Mm-hmm. So I think there's definitely a higher chance of seeing macro in this setup versus the last one. Arbuz, I haven't really, I've seen him play against Zerg when HitEmUp ended up rolling Zerg, but it wasn't really common since he didn't always end up getting Zerg. But definitely seeing him against Neblime was very interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And there's some definitely, I hope Neblime eventually posts those replays so we can cast them, because some of those are really quite interesting watching the first person. And it was just like a lot of really back and forth. And Shambler, I don't know, I haven't seen him play. He was like playing Protoss or something for a while, so I saw some of that, but I haven't seen his Zerg too much. I think I saw like 1 or 2.
I don't think anybody has, actually. Yeah, he's not really. He's practiced a little bit, but not a crazy amount. And he made the decision to be Zerg, basically when the tournament was announced, which is not that long ago either, right? So it was before the qualifier. He was a seeded player, being a Class 1 player, but he didn't have to play through the qualifier or anything. So we really don't have the benefit of time to look back over what he's done.
Meanwhile, Hupsaya is probably going to be rooting for our Protoss.
I think so, yeah. He's a Protoss player himself, and he doesn't much like Shambler, so it makes sense. I think Zerg is the easiest race, et cetera, et cetera. So
seeing those two type is just, it's great.
It's beautiful. That's the rivalry that we need. That's kind of why I was really hoping that we would see more out of Shambler versus the Night Fox. They're both typers as well, but
yeah, true. Well, it'll be I don't know. I think Shambler's coming in here a little bit at disadvantage because I don't think he has as much play time as Arbuz has been getting, because I noticed Arbuz plays quite a bit.
Yep.
So even if that's only up against HitEmUp, at least HitEmUp is generally playing random as far as I'm aware. So he's getting some versus Zerg experience in there. Just more importantly, he's just getting general mechanical experience. And there are some times that he will struggle a little bit with spending money. And that isn't as bad as some of the others we have seen for sure. But Shambler also can sometimes struggle a little bit with a macro too later on.
Yeah.
Which is generally when I was able to beat him, is when he would sometimes weaken a little bit later in the game. Arbuz does tend to go for early aggro. So there definitely will be some, in likelihood, almost every single match he did the Hierophant opening thing. It was usually like Hierophant. Sometimes it would be just passive where it's defensive. But he's done a few fairly different things too, like very early at Cantor drops and stuff like that. And I believe there was one match, I think it was that both players actually went the early at Cantor, but Arbuz was just like ever so slightly behind or something.
Right, yeah.
And
you're talking about
so,
when,
like,
when he was up against HitEmUp?
Like, that he had against HitEmUp weren't like usually that one-sided. Like, it looked one-sided because he was losing constantly, but the actual matches themselves were generally pretty close. And like I said, he was able to take matches off into Blind. So
yes,
it'll be interesting to see if Shambler and his Hurricane-related schedules actually allowed him to keep form and how well he's going to do against this particular player, because this is, I think, if he plays like at his peak, then this can most certainly go either way. If he is exploited, then I think it could get very one-sided.
Well, let's find out. I mean, first of all, we got to talk a little bit about that map veto, and then we'll be able to get into it. I can tell you right now, our opening map is Oblivion. That's a map we did not see in the last set. It was banned first and foremost by HitEmUp, the upper seed. Arbuz had the benefit of being the higher seed in this particular veto. So what we ended up seeing for bans was that, funnily, okay, this is interesting. The banned map from Arbuz was Paradise. That was what we were thinking about as the decider if Veek HitEmUp won all 5 games. But we won't be seeing that map this time around. Now, what we will see, though, is that Rage Slave was banned by Shambler. He's not a fan of that map. So that's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. Maybe it's a matchup thing, or maybe he just doesn't like the structure of it. Either way, that's a map that has been getting a lot of play. And so maybe the other consideration is that, like, I think behind Genesis Y, Rage Slave might be like the second most popular map or something. I know Cold Sweat's been getting a good play as well. So yeah, like, based on that alone, it kind of feels like, okay, that kind of tells me that, you know, Shambler could be vetoing maps based on the idea that, hey, you've had a lot of practice on this map. You know, I'm just going to take that completely out of the equation. We're not going to even bother going there.
This chat is good.
We love the chat. We love the chat. Thank you, guys. I will say, though, going into our second map after Oblivion, Impetus selected by the Shambler. And I knew Oblivion would probably surface in any Arbuz-related series because Arbuz does enjoy this map. He's played it a decent amount, so he knows what to do on it. I know Shambler's not inexperienced on it, so that should actually... These are looking like pretty even ones. Impetus has been played forever, so everybody's familiar with it. Not really a surprise to see Shambler pick that. He is fond of that. Our third map will be Genesis Y. After that, if we need a fourth map, it'll be Blackwater, and if we need a decider, it will be Cold Sweat. So that is the complexion of this series. And that leaves me with only one question. Mask, are you ready to kickstart quarterfinal number 2?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's see what they've got in store for us.
Let's see
if there will be typing.
I certainly hope so. There's actually a little bit of surprise typing in that last match. But here we have the Shambler in the bottom right as plain old red Zerg. Meanwhile, Arbuz Budesh in the top left as plain old green Protoss. Okay. So far, so good on my color guesses. Let's see if the boys can keep it up, keep it going with it. Big fan of that.
Yeah, this map is the home of the eternal Nablaim Arbuz battle. There was one match that I swear must have been like 40 minutes, maybe even longer, of just non-stop, back-to-back, forking across the map. It was really interesting to watch an FP VOD from that since Nablaim was streaming, because the players were doing very similar things. Their compositions were very similar. But definitely seeing the way that they split their attention from the fights and spend a lot of that time macroing. And then how it would oftentimes end up biting them in the ass, especially with dealing with demiurges. Because they would just continue attacking, doing damage, and not getting focused fire a lot of the time.
Right.
So sometimes, like, fights you would think, oh, Nablaim's going to win this fight. But he's off handling like 500 workers. He comes back and it's actually not doing too well. And it's like, I see that a lot in my cast, and then that kind of like gave me like a little bit more awareness of watching those cameras on the mini map.
Yep.
because you can see when a lot of fights go badly, it's actually because people are not like quite managing their APM effectively. And they end up taking away their attention from the fight at really critical points, which ends up costing them rather heavily.
Yeah, interesting already that Arbu's pylon scouts Shambler, concerned of a potential 7 pool or aggressive opener in general, ends up seeing nothing super out of the ordinary. And we have a gateway opener here for our Protoss, so this is where things can diverge. Sometimes Arbu's has been testing a little bit of a gateway expand, 1-gate expand build. That was something that Neblime, I guess, was also experimenting with. I'm not sure if one of them got it from the other or if they both tried to experiment with it just because
I've seen everybody do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It kind of really depends. Sometimes they just do it.
Not,
They want to be a little bit more defensive,
Yeah.
or maybe they see their opponent's going to be more defensive, and they're like, okay, I guess I'll just maybe build a couple of Hierophants and Ecclesias, maybe build some melee, and then expand. Usually, that is followed by a Cantors. Sometimes it's followed by, I've even seen like Demiurge rushes,
yes.
but it's it looks like Garbage is gonna probably want to go for that Zealot Ecclesiast at this point.
Yeah, he's going 3-gate. So this is a pretty standard Arbu's build. He does enjoy this. Shambler going to follow up his Larvosk into Pool with some additional Vespian harvesting. He's actually saturating up his Ridge as well. I'm going to guess this is for the Vornath, but it could also just be that he wants to add more K-Grints into Larvosks. That is something that we've seen a lot. Big talk of the town right now, something that HitEmUp tried to do. And we see another K-Grint coming, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that is going to be for the Larvosk.
Well, if you can't expand,
yeah,
you may as well, because you're going to need the larva, because
Yep.
if the Protoss is going to go very hard into aggro, although we do see a forward pylon here, so it's possible Arbas might still go for that expansion at this point. There's some weird vertical lines in those tiles in the net that I'll tell you about there.
Yes, of course.
And it's still a situation where it's like, well, the Zerg does not want to have no military here, because if the Zealot Ecclesiast gets off, then it's just going to be too much of a mess to catch up to.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a double Larvosk into Vornath. Shambler is going to lose his Zeth coming up here to scout. He doesn't
Actually drops
see...
a ward in here.
Yeah, I don't know if that was seen by Shambler's Zeths. I feel like he might have popped out. He might have seen the scribe start to move, though, so you can surmise it was probably going to go for that static defense.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about Neblime is he does not shy away from spending a lot of money on early static defense. He actually really partakes to the Matrix. And I guess it's just because the Matrix has shield restore.
Yes.
And it does help quite a bit. And he would, like, that. Most certainly before, there was a lot of back and forth about, you shouldn't build static defense, it'll put you behind, so on and so forth. But when you enter these situations where you want to go for that early expansion, I have definitely seen the Blime just plop down like 3 matrices fairly early into the match. And at that point, to all in that, especially if they have an army like this one here, which already has Ecclesias, it becomes very difficult to actually breach that early on. But this one Zeth, it wasn't even burrowed, it was just chilling out there, is going to spot the move out.
Yeah, we're seeing...
Shambler here has gone for a very, very, very melee-heavy army here. So really depends on if he manages to catch Arbas when he's out in a single file like this.
Yeah.
He can get a good surround on those Ecclesias, but if he manages to ball up, then it's going to be a lot harder to access them.
Yeah, there's a lot of Zets on the front here, and that's certainly what Arbus is thinking, but here comes the full surround. Shambler is going to have a field day with this, completely debuffing almost every single Ecclesiast. That's going to reduce their attack rate massively. No more shield restores coming out here as the front line starts to hemorrhage. We even got a battle worker in, baby.
Battle workers. Yeah, when Arbus kind of like had that little move back there, it actually separated his units even more from the front line that had already been slowed down. So that made an already bad situation even worse.
Well, he's going to try to...
That one basically as good as Shambler could have really asked
Absolutely,
for,
yeah. And look at the units in production. We got 10 Forbs, we got 5 Zets. Those are 5 pairs, by the way. So we're going to have a huge amount of melee units coming in here. And Arbus is desperately trying to see if he can set up himself a little bit of a choke point here. Not a perfect wall, of course. Those are real hard to come by. But you can definitely do choke points. You can hold position Zealots with that Ecclesiast. He's not actually plugging that yet. So that could be a weakness.
Boros will have a hard time actually killing those gateways. So you just want to kind of squeeze past here and...
Yeah, that's the rough part.
Basically anything he can get his hands on. There's a chunk of units that haven't joined the fight yet.
Yeah, a significant chunk down there.
Them. Yeah, this is getting pear-shaped in a hurry.
Oh yeah,
I think Arbus is in deep shit.
Yeah, he's only got a couple of zealots in production right now. He's warping in the embassy. He had the Nexus up, but this was a very military-focused play from Shambler. Don't want to call it an all-in just yet, but I think it's much too late to start building static
Yeah, it's
defense.
not quite all in. He just really just was like, okay, I'm not going to even worry about the expansion. I'm just going to go heavy into Zeths. I mean, his military or his worker count is lower, but
yeah. Yeah, and it would have been very significant, too, is with the embassy coming online, the Nexus coming online. So I feel like Shambler had to use that exact moment, but he's ripped out every single structure from the main. The embassy's down. All 3 gateways are down. That last warden going to be down. The battle workers, sure, the 2 gates at the front are down. Arbuz, he's hanging on for dear life, but that life has already ended. The rope's been cut. And Shambler's about to go up 1-0 in the set with pure Zeth Vorv. No other units required as Arbuz faces the music. GG.
Yeah, definitely the positioning for Arbuz got really, really rough in that engage. His Ecclesias kind of like shooting their own targets, separated away from the Zealots, did not get the ball he really wanted, and just slowly slapped to death.
That's some rough stuff, man. I was expecting Arbuz to like maybe only send out a little bit of a scout, check things out a little bit slowly, but no, not in that case.
Different timeline.
I've never seen pure Zeth Vorv, and I think there's probably a good reason.
We used to see it a lot. Half a year ago.
Well, not just that though. Like you wouldn't get in any ranged units until a little bit later.
It was a response to the I believe to like Dracodons.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. I know what you're talking about. I don't know if they ever ended the game with just that. I guess Sipiak probably did a few times back in the day when he was a Zerg.
Not really often, but the game would be de facto over if you killed the Protoss' early aggression with him. I definitely wouldn't expect to see that alone against Zealot Ecclesias. That's the matchup I really wasn't expecting to see. But I mean, if you just devote everything to building like 50, 60 of them,
yes,
and you get a good timing surround like that, then yeah, definitely.
Yeah, rough stuff. Okay, well, we're going to go to Impetus for game number 2. And remember, Oblivion was Arbuz's pick. So we could end up in a territory where you got to win your opponent's map pick in order to have a shot at this set. Not exactly there just yet, but definitely a possibility. Arbuz, the Protoss in the top right. Is this Glacial? No, it's Alice Blue. Fuck. And in the bottom left, Shambler as our Zerg. Is he just green again? Of course he is.
Good luck. Don't
hit
him up.
Don't hit him up. There you go. Classic.
Don't hash.
Yeah, good luck. Don't hash.
Just a little.
Yeah, shout out to Grunch, man. Too bad he's no longer actively playing because that comment was legendary. This is a moment that I will always remember when Biddy B says, "You hash?" ? And he goes, "A little."
Just a little. Well, Arbuz might be a little bit more defensive now, especially with the early move out.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like he's going to change a lot about what he does. I have seen sometimes Lattice, but usually it was like Nibline would sometimes do Lattice. But usually Lattice kind of like comes in later on when you can start affording like stacks of Vassals and Barghists. So you can just switch those. They like to build a lot of rogue galleries, use it for mineral dumps. But then, if you get a bunch of Barghists in there for the armor penetration, it most certainly helps as well. But he has a fairly commonly standard opening. The Ecclesias first is generally pretty safe. I think the major issue was he moved out maybe a little too early. And didn't really realize there was going to be just a Zeth flood. So now that cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
And he's going to see kind of a similar build fermenting here. So
well, he is, but Shambler doesn't even have his pool up. Like, he has gone straight for Larvosk. He is going to droll super fast, super hard. He's not mining with one of his workers, and he's obviously scouting with the others. So this is a little bit slower to come to life. And he's going to actually have some wasted larva time here as well. So not a very optimized build, but, Shambler's going to see what he can do with it. And yeah,
it's okay. He's Cuban.
One of the things that I really think about, too, is where's the lattice that Arbuz used to like to incorporate into his play? Like one gate, one lattice. You get those idols out to splash all those Zets. Because that's the adaptation Protoss went through. Or a single Vassal.
I really liked the Hapsaya Vassal Rush.
Yeah.
At the time that it was when you saw a lot of Zeths and stuff. And then you just build Vassals and you just kill them. You just ignore them. And That was astoundingly effective, as it always kind of has been, because the Vassal's always been a force of terror, especially when you can build 2 at a time. And indeed, we will see a Lattice coming out, but I feel like he might actually go for golems.
Yeah, Golem
I have
Ecclesiast
actually
is like
seen
immortal
Sims
almost.
as well, but
so.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. I feel like people have
Shambler
experimented
has-
with Sims, but
And idle worker. Sims, I think, just kind of like lack the hitting power, but you can, like, especially early into the game, especially against like sometimes against Terran, but usually against other Protoss, especially if they're building like a lot of Hierophants that don't really kill them very quickly, you can kind of have them as sort of like a cheap side. But I mean, you may well see Vassals, but I think Shambler has a lot of money.
well, we do
He's
it.
just saving it.
Yeah,
He's definitely a little suboptimal here. Is one of his.
I don't know. I think
builds
this might.
and
I'm
stuff,
looking at the workers on other side. I think we might actually have a bugged replay here.
Rip.
Yeah, because there's like a weird box selection happening and stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Arbus has 3 idle workers. I don't think
Yeah.
you're gonna see that out of him when he has everything going.
Yep. Yeah. Well, as soon as I saw Zeth move to the mineral line, I was like, "That's fucking weird. Is he trying to mine with his worker? That's not how this game works, dude."
It's fucked.
All right,
It's
boys.
fucked.
All right, let's take a moment here. I'll investigate because I have a feeling that maybe this replay was checked in single player. So I'm just gonna jump in and see if it works.
Oh, this old bug again.
Yeah. Let's find out. The other thing too is that I mean I had the match admins check the replays for me, so that's also a little weird. I don't know why that would be.
Well,
incorrect.
I don't think most people think to check between UDP and single player.
Right.
That's only something I remember I have ever reported.
No. I'm saying if they,
sometimes too.
But well, it's actually wrong on both counts. So let me just see who admin this. Looks like it was 3 Crow, and I will see if I can get him on the phone here. I saw him. He was on the stream. So I wonder what would have gone wrong. Toyota, you didn't know that these were replays this whole time. I appreciate.
Do you know how hard the scheduling is for this?
Yeah.
Like, some of these matches were supposed to be played, I think, like 2 weeks ago. It's
no.
hard.
The qualifier was the previous weeks. We originally thought that the event could have been played a week
It was
prior.
like a 2-week event, like 1 weekend and 2 weekend, but
yeah,
it's difficult.
Oh, you know what? Maybe 3 Crow never did validate these, but he did record it. So.
Oh.
All
right.
We can cast from his
up
FP VOD. I just need to get it from him.
Get the team view going. Plug in the projector. Everybody get out your beer.
Yeah. That's what we did in school.
Fidget spinners. Your LED sneakers.
Well, we have some idea of what to go off of based on that. So we know that it was Lattice. We know that there was some sort of response being made there.
Maybe that's why his pool was so late.
Wait for 3 Crow to be able to load those up. Yeah, Shambler can't be in the chat, Toyota, responding to us talking, because that would mean he's live watching the stream and thus hearing our discussion. So
he can. I'm sure he can. He will just tab out just to type at you. I mean, sometimes Nebulime does that. I've seen them do it. He gets addicted to it. That's why he has to mute stuff.
Nebulime does like to type in I'll be DMing him about something and he'll be talking while he's playing all of that.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be
types like bitty B or something.
Yeah, if he happens to be watching if you happen to be watching his FP VOD, he'll like alt tab out of the game while he's in the game. It's like
I might have killed him a couple times. Some of the Arbus losses might have been because I was talking to him.
Yeah, it's pretty.
We were
good.
talking about Australia and the fact that the cities aren't completely infested with redbacks, but don't tell anybody
that. Well, you got the classic. This is pre-recorded ?
You're pre-recorded.
Fagudo having some fun with it.
Don't believe the alternative media.
We'll see if Arbus has a secondary replay, because I know Shambler's not at his computer right now. But maybe we can get lucky with that. Otherwise, I'm looking at the replay's size, and it doesn't seem like it was that long. So it was longer than the first game, though. So we're definitely missing something.
Okay. Oh, he is there. He's fishing it out for you.
I'll give him the date. We save all of the replays automatically, so this is a pretty fortuitous feature.
Call him regarded.
Regarded.
Hupsaya's mannered up.
He's gonna meet you, Hupsaya.
Down to go meet God.
Yeah, that's still pinned in the games channel. Classic banter. I think it was. I can't remember. It might have been Toyota. Somebody was like, "I just love how everybody here is so friendly."
Oh yeah. And you just start like.
I just start posting fucking hatred between players. I probably shouldn't dig out those screenshots, but it's funny.
Good shit.
Arbus odd me again. Oh wait, no, Arbus, you called yourself regarded. You can't do that. Let me see what map 2 or map 3 was again. Genesis.
Dad has to get his say on the matter.
For those who don't know, in our Discord server, we have a bot named Deputy Dad. And ever since some update to Discord where they changed the tag from bot, now he's an app, which is disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know why. For one, I don't know why people call them apps. It's just fucking cancer. Two, why they would call a bot an app just is even more head scratching.
Indeed, indeed. It just don't make no sense.
I like to believe that Hepsai actually counted it. He's kept track.
Why not? Yeah.
I would keep track.
All right, let's see if I can make this one work. Except I don't even remember
He's
if I selected
gotta catch
the right
up to
one.
low tier god.
Dude, that guy, you know Patrick made an AI generated song about that guy? I don't know what it's about exactly. I didn't understand any of it, but I probably shouldn't watch the replay in the turning game mode. By the way, on pre-release, Veek has updated the turning. Can you believe that?
What did he change?
Zombies work a bit differently now.
Zombies.
Yeah. They're zombies, dude.
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
Oh, so in the turning, when you lose a unit, it comes back as a zombie. And Veek updated it so that in addition to it coming back as a zombie, it gets added to like a pool of zombies that can spawn every so often at random points on the map.
What are they, just like neutral hostile?
Yeah.
Or what?
So they
Oh
just
my
attack
God.
anything.
So you just drop like 80 Zets in someone's base.
Yes,
and
then
it
they have to
just
double
turns
kill
into
them.
A fuckfest.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Except, you know, if they only kill like some of them, then they'll respawn and attack the other Zeths that you have. So, also the workers respawn and start attacking battle workers. So
Oh my god. Can't be real.
Indeed, indeed. This song's probably.
This replay is also fucked.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's no good. At least not in single player, but it's in the exact same way. So.
Well, I wonder what fucked it.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's very odd. I wonder if the colors are wrong. We might get different colors when we like. That's something that I've noticed in replay break cases is that
Yeah.
the color randomization will be off. Usually it's related to our color preference selector thing. So I told Shambler a long time ago because he was complaining that a lot of his replays get broken. And I mean, I don't know what's causing it. It's Veek's code and he hasn't been able to track it down yet. But I did tell him that if he wanted to stop that from happening, he can just disable the color preference thing. And it probably won't happen anymore.
Oh. How long has that been in there?
Couple months, maybe 2 months.
Oh.
Something like that.
Well, I was gonna say that the desyncs and replays have happened for a really long time.
Yeah. But this specific case is like it's very obvious that the colors are different. Actually, there was a game that we just casted, the Rage Slave one, between HitEmUp and Veek, where they were both shades of red, and I guarantee you that was not the case in the game, because that's obviously pretty hard to read. But
yeah,
like it ended up being fine in the replay, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case in the game. So there's something wrong with the serialization of that data that I guess apparently also breaks the replay somehow. They don't seem like they'd be related, but it's Blizzard.
Well, it's Blizzard. If it doesn't seem like it's related, there's probably some insanely long rat's nest of hard code from like 30 years ago that is related. That's been copy pasted around everywhere to change one line in it.
A classic move. Well, boys, it does look like we have to wait for 3Crow to get home so he can send us his recording. So that's awkward. So I say we pause and we come back to the series.
Okay.
Let me see what's up next. Oh, we've got a very lengthy TVT up next. Did you want to go make your coffee now?
Yeah, sure. I'll go put on some coffee, and I won't be that long. So.
Okay, sounds good. Well, boys, sorry about this awkward interruption, but we will be back with some TVT. So let's suspend the Shambler. He'll be posted in suspended animation. Him and Arbuz Budesh, they are not allowed to type during this. That shouldn't be a problem for Arbuz, but Shambler's already going to fail that immediately. A classic move. But we'll be back. Shambler up 1-0. We're going to take a detour down some TopRamen Hamster action up next. See you guys soon. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. Mesk, it's time for some Terran on Terran violence while we wait for the rest of the footage to hit our desks of series number 2. Hamster against TopRamen. Now, Hamster is the upper seed for this match, but just like we were talking about between Arbuz and the Shambler, I was saying that this match, to me, is a clear 50-50. TopRamen's been grinding a lot lately. Hamster hasn't had as much practice lately. Both of them are, they've played Terran for a decent amount of time now, but Hamster has played every single race. And, for a while, he was a bio-only kind of guy. Now I think he's, seen the mech way of things as a little bit more. Although we did see some very nice bio play out of HitEmUp just earlier in the day. So to me, I look at that and I think to myself, you know what? The way that Hamster's rocking this, the way that Hamster used to rock this with like the Eidolon spam, I think he had the right idea, he just didn't have the right execution, and now people have kind of shown you how to do it. It feels like something that maybe he should pick back up again, but hey, maybe he'll do that in TVT, maybe he won't. Maybe it's all about mech in TVT, I'm not sure. I think we're going to be able to learn some really interesting things out of this series because this will be the first time that we see some pretty high-level Terrans facing off against each other in a playoffs match, a best of 5, TopRamen versus Hamster. Any thoughts on these players?
I think if Hamster is still a Zerg, it's still weird to me he switched off of Zerg.
Yes.
But here we are. He's become one of Benno's people.
No kidding.
If I don't see him loading thousands and thousands of Mavericks into transports, I'll be disappointed. TopRamen kind of reminds me a lot of HitEmUp in terms of the Terran play, but again, there's some struggle in the mid and late with the attention, which I have talked about in some of my casts, that could be an issue for him. But I don't know really too much about how Hamster is doing these days, so definitely think it could go either way. And hoping to see some murder, some tier 3 murder, some diadems.
Right?
Yes.
This is the kind of thing we could and really should get out of TVT, let's be real. I will point out that when Mystery Meat was playing, I think every single game went to tier 3 versus Beach or something crazy
I was
like
thinking,
that.
which was the match that every game went to tier 3? It was like, yeah, it was Mystery Meat.
Yeah.
So
So
you just calmly go to tier 3 and start building Tyrant.
yes, and that's the kind of thing that to me, right, like the way that I see this, I kind of look at that and I think to myself, whoa, wait a second. We just saw HitEmUp play 4 games of Terran, and he didn't even use tier 2 in any of them. He got to tier 2 technically in that last game, but they were so fast. That I feel like we'll probably not see that same pace this time around. But who knows, man? Who knows? This could easily be a very ridiculously fast series. As usual, I do like to take a look at the map pool. So while I load up that first lobby for you to get into and grab the replay file.
Oh wait, is that you in Axiom?
No, I'm Impetus.
Who is that?
I don't know. Other people play the game.
I keep accidentally joining it. What the fuck? Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm in the right lobby now.
Okay, welcome.
Son will be confused.
Yeah, Axiom
I
isn't even
clicked
in
on this
pool.
one and it just like bumped me up and it just like fucking yanked me in by the hips.
That's right. That's how it works, apparently. So here we go. We do obviously have a couple of interesting things out of this pick ban veto, including going straight back to Impetus here on TVT. That's a map that I feel like we're almost guaranteed a long game on. We look at map 2 is going to be Cold Sweat. That was selected by Ramen. But again, their bans were first. Hamster banned Rage Slave. He does not want anything to do with that map, apparently. And that was his first act in this veto. Now, Ramen's ban was Cold Sweat, not his pick. My mistake, my misread there. Map 2 is actually going to be Maxium. So we go from Impetus to Maxium, pretty macro-oriented maps. I feel like maybe both players kind of handshaking that's the kind of thing that they want. So, maybe we get the honorable Terran series. I'm not sure. We go on to map 3 will be Blackwater Bastion. So we're actually seeing 2 4-spawn maps. It'll be the first time we technically see a 4-spawn map in the whole day of play because they were relegated to only banned or decided for Series 1. We didn't get there. Series 2 is obviously on hold, so we'll see. But looking at the subsequent map picks, we have Paradise picked by Ramen. So all 3 of the 4-spawn maps are going to be present. Well, if we get as far, if it's not a 3-0, right, we're going to see all of the 4 spawns. and that's pretty interesting. The final map was Genesis Y, so that's pretty much the only like rush-oriented fast action map that I can think of. I mean, not to say that they won't prove me wrong by doing it elsewhere, but like this complexion of this series basically set to it and stated by the map veto. To me, this looks like a very macro-oriented set.
Yeah, well, definitely when I think about Hamster, I think back when he was Zerg, and a lot of those games were more macro-oriented for him. So it's not too surprising to see that has progressed to this point. Ramen at least seemed kind of flexible, where he can try to go early aggro against mass vassals. It may struggle a little bit, but is fully prepared to go into tier 2 and ramp that up. And I haven't really seen him. I don't think I've ever seen him go into the tier 3 and really like test his limit.
Right.
But definitely when it started hitting to tier 2, it felt like he could get overwhelmed in it. So it'll be interesting to see how he's, because I think those replays are kind of old now, like maybe like a month old. It'll be interesting to see how he's improved since then. And most certainly interesting to see how Hamster has changed since then as well. And it seems like both players want to maybe no rush 20, get up to those diadems and show Mystery Meats how to do that tier 3 rush on one base.
I'm interested because the way that we're looking at this, it really could be some significant power. Like Ramen has gotten down to like a really fast data in the past to get to tier 3 super fast. So I know he's practiced with it, but you got to remember that like some of the top tier players, they've never seen tier 3 in like, you know, maybe they see it in like 1 out of 50 games or 1 out of 100 matches. Like to them, it's a myth. Whereas the people who've been around longer, they've seen it pretty frequently. Right. And obviously we saw it every single game with Mystery Meat. So, you know, it's like stands to reason that it's a very playstyle dependent thing. Like I feel like Neblime versus Jack Yelansky goes to tier 3 for both players. Like, I want to say 50% of the time, which is a pretty significant margin just because of their playstyle. So a lot of it is down to the matchup, and I haven't seen these two play before. So at least not TVT. That alone is very interesting to me. So I say we get started, Mesk. You ready to kick things off?
I was actually going to go grab my coffee really quick,
grab your coffee,
feel free to
sir.
start. I'll be here in just a moment.
You do that. You won't be able to see me embarrass myself by guessing every color incorrectly, but we are getting into it, boys. It's time for quarterfinal number 3, and TopRamen in the bottom left as the vivid red Tyrant. Oh, Scarlet. Well, close enough. And Hamster in the top right as the asparagus Tyrant. No, it's Celadon. Oh, my goodness. It's a really good thing that Mesk wasn't here to watch me embarrass myself that way. Don't worry, guys. You can all just say that I guessed it correctly in the chat. Just congratulate me on my correct chat guesses. And that's all I need. That's all I need from you guys. TVT. I feel like this is going to be an interesting series just based on the fact that it is a mirror. But these players do have pretty different play styles. We talked a little bit about that as things kicked off. We already obviously talked about how Ramen likes his early aggro. He's pretty optimized with his builds. And he also can play the macro style. It does enjoy both facets of the game. Hamster he's just a crafty guy. He just does things in a weird way. He's just a strange player, and in the best way possible. So I am very eager to see what he does here. It is going to be a Fulcrum first, whereas Ramen going Quarry first. A risky gambit from our underdog. But is he going to get punished? Hamster is scouting pretty fast, actually faster than his opponent even. So he'll be able to grab that intel and secure at least a little bit of a plan of action here. Deal with his opponent who is doing things a little bit differently here with the Fulcrum much slower. In fact, his Fulcrum pops down as Hamster's is 75% complete. And I do see that Hamster is cheering him and his opponent on because they are both part of the Clan Ass. Clan Ass is an interesting organization. I mean, their goal is simple. They must abolish salt by any way possible. And you might be tempted to think that it's a anti-salt society, but that's only once Shambler stops being salty. Until then, it's the anti-Shambler society.
Hello.
Welcome back. You missed Ramen going Quarry first, and Hamster scouting him, and now sending a Vulture across. So this could be good, bad. No, Hamster's actually going to fall back and kill the scout. This is something I see some players do. This is, I don't even think, I don't even know if Hamster realized that. He might have just attack moved because he wasn't looking at his opponent's base. But that's a little bit dangerous to just allow that because now the Vulture is going to happen on the other side. There is a second one for Hamster, but I don't know. It feels like, you bought some time. You could have left the mine like directly underneath the fulcrum to stun the vulture when it comes out and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like opportunities there that are no longer going to be there now. But Hamster posturing, going to maybe put his enemy's attack on
Using that
cooldown.
mason there to battle worker it up.
Oh yeah, look at that. He's
Up.
going to even eat up the lobotomy mines. And now that's going to force Ramen back.
Suck him back. Ramen's in trouble now, but he's got 2 vultures. If he sits on this ledge, he can hold it because he'll have the range advantage. If he dives into the lobsters,
That's close. That's close.
Oh, the lobsters!
He wants to play Minesweeper, but he is going to lose his vulture for that. No third vulture. There is a third vulture. No, there is a fourth vulture. Don't listen to me. Mask talk.
He's got the queued up. Yeah. He didn't have the battle worker for the Minesweeper, but now he's going to hold that ledge and Hamster. Nope, not going to give in to the bait. He will not fall into the sweet temptations of the lobster's song. He will not succumb. Kind of surprised they didn't send down another battle worker. Oh, he is. There is. Well, that's the old one that's kind of meandering around out there.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, he ends up getting another stun off, but
this is a weird.
Not bitten just yet. Yeah, it's full pure vulture the whole time through. That's a dead vulture for sure. Pounced on immediately. But here comes the anchor, loaded up with them bikes. And now you got to watch out for that.
Sadistic. Well, Hamster is he's in somewhat of a pickle, but he's also not. His opponent now has to dislodge him from his backside, which, well, that could take a little bit of effort now, which allows Hamster to build his own wheel. There's some tickling going on here, but every single time Ramen loses a vulture, he gets put into a more precarious position where there could be a run-by. In fact, I mean, there could almost be a run-by if he could just clear this ramp.
Yeah, of the mines.
Sent in a worker and just like dove all of them. He might be able to do that. Ramen does that, but he's using vultures to do it. So every single time he loses one, it kind of delays him. He's building his ministry, but he has to actually take this out, or he can take another base, which has potential risks. He's much less likely to be able to defend it, especially if so many lobsters remain here. He's trying to wiggle his way into here. It's kind of like a tick trying to wiggle its way through your sweater, but meanwhile, there is a proxy stockade being built.
Why not?
Ramen has a lot of money. He can't really spend it at the moment, so he's like, well, I guess I'll start building additional fulcrums. But he's actually really sucked back on gas at the moment.
He does have the worker advantage, of course, that fast quarry helping him out, but he is not going to be able to start populating his expansion nearly as fast as his opponent. That's the trade-off here. So that one base saturation, it's going to help him out for now, but he is capped out at that point, right? So not bothering to make any additional ones. This vulture going to see if it can block the landing. What does Hamster want to do here? It's going to get a single worker kill out of it because of the attack move there, but not able to block that ministry from landing any further. Whoa!
Nope.
I like that idea kind of, but it was a little bit bold. What's he doing with this? What's he going with that? He's trying. He's trying to pop the mines to stun the rest of his army, but Hamster's, not exactly being successful. And then Ramen's watching on, like, what are you?
Yeah, Hamster could have possibly even tried to fight that or pulled back and do a little bit of baiting, but he instead got a little too carried away.
Yeah.
The stockade is floating into Ramen's base, but he was prepared for this secret strategy and has built 2 shopkeeper dogs.
That's right.
To keep an eye on that precise spot where the stockade was undoubtedly going to crash into his base and blow up, just like the Ion Cesar in Supreme Commander used to suicide commanders early into the game because LMAO. Meanwhile, that Mason is subjected to CBT.
Computer-based
Hamster
training.
has a couple of Goliaths here going for a phalanx on top of it.
Yeah, he's just
honestly,
mining
like
out the
a
Vespin.
hard phalanx switch at this point, like what Mystery Meat did. That would be really, really something. But his eco can't quite handle it yet. But he's below. But he's got two quarries, so they're almost really about even, give or take. Except what is curious to me is just like Ramen has a lot of watchdogs.
Yes.
There is a reason why he has built nothing but watchdogs.
Yes.
He must have suspected some kind of like Wraith all in after the Vulture contained. But it isn't. It's just much heavier shit. Which now he's going to discover, and he might be like, oh my god, the stockade is making a second round here, checking his tech, but it won't see the star pad from here, though.
No, it's not going to get close enough to do that. And yeah, the Starpad's making a drop, so this is going to be the mech drop. I have heard about Hamster's Cyclops, or sorry, Ramen's Cyclops drops. I have heard some terrifying things, and his Watchdog is going to come in here and scout, and see this.
There are Watchdogs everywhere, man.
That's right.
He has so many of them. They're multiplying.
Mine coverage on the third for
this
Ramen.
army, though, it's got a lot of beef to it. It can definitely do a lot of damage. If this drop doesn't do a lot, Ramen could be put into a bit of a sticky situation here. So those Cyclops, if Hamster responds to those and he has some Goliaths or something on hand, he can repel that drop pretty easily.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be 4 of them heading over to that spot in the top right. When your opponent scouts it there, you might think about putting down some static defense or whatever, but some Wounded Vultures just going to get peppered down here. Ramen not going to really be able to push too far forward. Phalanx is deploying. We've got 3 of them over here. The Stockade will continue to draw some fire and move a little bit further forward. Ministry now in construction here for Hamster as he thinks about taking that extra base. He's going to push on forward. I like how scrappy he's being, very aggressive, but what's his reaction to the drop?
Yeah, Ramen is trying to hold his attention there, but Hamster immediately responds to this. All of his Cyclops are getting caught up. This is, remember, this is
the workers.
Cantor. But unfortunately, some of them got shots off, but
wow,
basically no workers died.
That is really good response there from Hamster. He repelled that much faster and gets the Trojan.
All, kept him busy, and at the same time, he was annihilating Ramen's army. Ramen is down to 5 military units, 2 of which are stuck inside this anchor. And precisely the situation he didn't want to be in, where he's completely contained by tanks, is now unfolding. In fact, that Mason is going to die a disgusting death. He does have a couple of phalanxes of his own he's been building during the drop shenanigans.
Yes.
So he'll probably be able to hold his ledge here and kind of delay this, but he was definitely hoping for a little bit more impact off of that drop. Meanwhile, both players are getting kind of rich here, with Ramen maybe saving to buy himself a condo or something. He can definitely add some more fulcrums now that that base is saturated and he's looking to build that third. But where is he going to land it?
Yeah, this is
interesting.
interesting.
Get rid of the Hamster teeth marks, then
Atlas already on the way for our Russian Tyrant here in the top right. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go for Russian green as his color. You know, it would kind of fit. Close enough, though. Oh, by the way, I got all of the colors really correct. Wink. Right, chat?
Oh, wow. I'll just take your word for it as opposed to thinking you're trying to rig the betting pool.
The mines are going to go ahead and tickle these workers on the transfer, I think. But the third base...
Yeah, I was just looking. I was just thinking, you know, there's just like 30 mines in there.
Uh-oh. Phalanxes are getting peppered down here. There's 6 of them in total here. So Ramen is feeling pretty good about that. Remember, this patch does not yet have the change for phalanxes when they are coming out of the Trojan. They do not have to play the deployment animation. That's something we added later on. That's on pre-release, not on these tournament games. So that is going to be a factor already, I can tell you, because Ramen has left the building with a phalanx in tow. He's spotting very nicely with these vultures, but at this point, that ministry, even though it can't really go anywhere, it's just going to occupy things. The Goliaths just peppered and littering everywhere. There's floating structures all over the place for some reason. I don't know what's happening.
This is really harkening back to the days of Mystery Neat.
Yeah.
I really liked Hamster bringing over his Goliaths at just the right moment to take the shots early into that exchange. But
yeah.
The lines of Ramen are slowly advancing here. The anchor will poop out some never mind. They already dislodged. I guess that was the 2 that dropped on top of them. It's like a makeshift Trojan. I kind of wondered where they came from.
Well, Hamster has not yet responded to the drop in his natural. A lot of workers going down. Now he's going to realize...
Oh my god, the battle workers.
Battle workers forcing that phalanx to get picked up. No, he's just going to go ahead and unload in his face. Where are the combat units? Here comes some Goliaths. They're going to saunter on over. They're not putting damage onto the Trojan. It can just scoop it up. Immediately away it goes.
However, its last shot did go to the Goliaths, so it could have done quite a bit of damage there. It's moved over to here, and he wants to build some watchdogs there. Good response time. His front line is still being tickled, allowing Ramen to take that third base. Slowly creeping up in the workers, still fairly tight. That stockade still spies. There's so many vultures that are going to run over to this third. There's not too many units over here. They can be overwhelmed by that many vultures. But this last tank retreating is going to at least alert Hamster to their arrival. Allow him to regroup a little there. He wants to get those Goliaths in front.
Yeah, you might want to. Remember, there's no armor on those deployed phalanxes. Vultures are going to deal full damage to them, and that's how fast that they can go down. But look, You're talking about a glass cannon versus those phalanxes. The upfront damage
got a
so
roller coaster
high,
there.
most of them end up going down. That actually stops Ramen from being able to push any further forward. And we've got Cataphracts coming for Hamster. Same kind of style from Ramen, though. He's adding his own mantles now that his tier 2 is done. Feels like maybe he's actuating his tech a little bit faster than Hamster is, because he had that Atlas done a long time ago.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting actually to see starports again, because I figured, oh, the opponent is building nothing but phalanxes and vultures. Just make some wyverns, make some seraphs, and then just force him to respond to you. But he's going to go back to Catfax once again. There are a couple of Goliaths over here, but it's nothing really substantial. I mean, Ramen did, of course, preemptively place 80 million watchdogs, but definitely some seraphs could do a lot of damage to this largely anti-ground army.
Ugh.
Instead, Ramen's pushing himself into here, but there is a little group of clerics healing, and everything's just kind of like trading in it.
Yes.
Feels like maybe he kind of like over pushed himself a little bit. He might.
Are you
trade
the
a
mech
couple
warrior?
lives, but-
Or is that mech assault? Dun, dun, dun. Cataphracts now on the
That
field.
said, Ramen now has a 4th base coming up. These bases are so vulnerable to air units.
I know.
It's really interesting to see how we've entered this kind of situation a few times, and they just don't go air.
Yes.
They always go straight to Catfax. And I wonder if that's like some carryover from when they were ridiculously strong from having unlimited target spread. Because they definitely were stronger than air units at that point. Because they would just hit an unlimited number of units. And do they fit into Trojans?
Yes, one of them will. It's 6 transport space. So
I feel like double dropping Catfax could do a lot of damage to worker lines anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you're just unloading them. There is a lodestone there in the bottom right, but it's not currently staffed. So Ramen does have some vulnerabilities there. Hopefully, I mean, it's vulnerable, really, if you think about it, versus anything. There's no defenses of any kind, no watchdogs, no sentinels, no units just milling about there. So we're going to have to wait and see what Hamster can pick up here. He's got an awkward engagement being set up, but there's Cataphracts on both sides already. Unfortunately for Ramen, though, his is getting focused down by the phalanxes.
Yeah, the problem with the Catfax is they don't take down the tanks very quickly. When the tanks are sieged, they don't have armor, but it's still 10 damage a hit. If they're being healed, you need so many of them to punch through the tanks. Meanwhile, they're slow moving. They're taking tons of damage from the tanks. They're large, so they're getting hit with splash more often. They don't really feel like the most optimal way to deal with an already established tank line. It feels like you want to find a way to kind of circumvent that.
Yeah.
So instead, what we're going to end up in is what it becomes a very eco-dependent exchange, which is an exchange that presently Hamster is rapidly falling behind in.
Yes.
Ramen is showing, this point when he starts to kind of like explode in that production. When you see one starport coming, he may start producing seraphs. It's going to cause him some headaches for sure, depending if Ramen can control them a little bit better in some of the previous games where sometimes they did well, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes he'd get good irradiates off, sometimes he would kind of like forget about them. And, this fight here is actually pretty important because only now is Hamster looking to take that 4th, but Ramen's kind of getting throttled into a little line here, moving into like a half enclave. So there's just a lot of damage getting piled into one spot, and he doesn't have the tanks to return it now.
The clerics have been
the
clerics have been really, really efficient here for Hamster. He's restoring a lot of his phalanx health. Cataphracts getting hemorrhaged on the way out. Obviously, they're not very fast-moving units. Stockade gonna spy the bottom right base. That looks like where Hamster maybe wants to provoke some kind of response. He can entrench down here with the phalanxes and kind of just call Ramen to action.
Yeah, so there was Hamster had to slap the ass of one of his own Catfax to try to get them to move a little bit faster. They are orange, so they are a little derp. There is 2 star pads coming for. I feel like that's going to be for Anseals, actually.
Yeah, it could be.
Meanwhile, these bases are getting sieged here. Units are splitting up. Nothing is defended here. Nothing went into that lodestone.
Oh, no,
the workers are biting. Oh, my God, they're biting. They might have been able to take down that
one Goliath,
but,
yes.
Ramen's caught in a bit of an awkward spot. He's trying to make some Heracles for the front line, but while they do have armor, there is so many clerics healing this one Catfax.
Yeah.
He's staying alive for too long, but the spread is making them heal each other. So eventually he dies, but it's kind of costly.
Oh, no, his Cataphracts are clumped up versus the phalanxes.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very cost-inefficient way to break this, but break this he will. However, his worker count is dropping precipitously while Hamster is still climbing ever so slowly. There is going to be some kind of comeback in the cards here for Hamster. He has his own battle workers down there for some reason. I don't know why, but he's going to go ahead and get those out of there. He'll even get some nice good trades over here to kill those vultures as they come up, but he's already taken care of business in the bottom right. I do like the ballsiness of Ramen expanding north of his other extreme base there, is based on the extremities.
Well.
You know?
He's got some minerals. There is a Seraph coming. These can do a lot of... It's a little harder to make them work when the Catfax are already out, but Catfax don't kill
he's got the anvil on a treasury in the main. This is the first time I've ever seen anybody actually do that, but I've been talking about that for a long time. Now, that being said, a lodestone has also been something I've been talking a long time, but this is the second one Ramen's made that he hasn't staffed. So this base over here is going to get
at least 6 Masons into it, so it does something. The Seraph is on the way, but it is being tickled. I think you might have noticed that there's actually Catfax and Ramses inside those Trojans. If he drops those into the main, it can actually be a really major headache. Just suicide drop them on top of the worker line.
Yeah, that's where he's going. It looks like the Seraph is going to get into a spot to nuke the top left, but is that going to be enough? Where's the unload target? It is going to be enough. They will get them unloaded. And that is going to start tying up the units coming out of the reinforcements. It will eventually be cleared, but missile launch onto the third, actually, not the top left. That worker line will end up getting cleared. That might be the only way Ramen can come back into this.
Them. He's moving out.
Oh, look at that. Even better for Hamster. Not actually going to lose those workers. He is in a commanding position all of a sudden.
He is holding that bottom right. Units are randomly going down there, including Masons, that are getting murdered by a little squad of dudes.
Yeah, behind the minerals.
Behind the minerals, yep. And this is like, okay, now he has to deal with this, but there's enough. There's 3 Cataphracts plus the Goliath that are holding that. Now he just goes back to take the ramp again.
Great irradiate.
The military has moved left, so now it's going to be awkward. A few units got irradiated. And
top left just murdered all the workers as well. The Seraph with its dying breath there, shot down by the Watchdogs, ends up getting... And because the way that it was working out with the Watchdogs is that all the workers were returning between them. So one irradiate there got basically the whole mineral line.
Oh my god.
But still, I mean, these are lifelines maybe for Ramen, but I don't think he's got the army to deal with this. Not even needing to deploy the phalanxes, but he will now, and that's just going to clear this completely.
The Catfax are continually rebuffed by the phalanxes. It just feels like you're fighting into something that is unnecessarily difficult.
Yeah.
And we can kind of see that Hamster is realizing this if he wants to get more mileage. There's more star pads coming. There's his own
starport as well,
coming.
yeah.
He's trying to mix it up a little bit, but the tanks just keep murdering. Some units are rallied and dying miserably.
Oh boy.
But others are just dying en masse to tanks here. The tanks coming up in tank mode with their 4 armor. Not quite the easily outdamaged, a huge stack of these with their very high health pool, but still traded at least fairly favorably. There is a vulture there that murdered a worker before getting murdered by a lone sentinel. Some vultures are harassing the right. There's just units all over the place.
It's a very chaotic
Suddenly,
game.
this base on the left belongs to Hamster for momentarily. There's a lone Trojan that got a watchdog built under it and got blown up. Units are kind of just all over the place. It's just chaos right now. And I think Hamster's getting slightly overwhelmed by it, and he's kind of losing his tempo a little bit because there's vultures holding that right side. And now the worker count has somehow managed to stabilize it.
How are we yeah, this game still goes on, man.
But bottom right,
yes,
Ramen is still struggling to take this. He's bringing in Heracles to spot for the tank, but he ends up losing them on top of it again. Both players are stuck inside of each other's bases. A couple of sentinels waiting for the Catfax in the top. Those are Hamster's Anseals, not Ramen's. He doesn't have any way up the ramp, and that gets squashed.
Well, the missile going down in Hamster's main, that's going to be a juicy hit. Completely destroys one of the star pads, and that starport won't be far behind. So nice efficacy there.
There is a Gorgon coming out that can be used to start heckling the Seraph. A couple of workers have died.
Yeah, I don't know where the Gorgon went. I guess must have...
It went south. There, yeah. It's south of the Seraph right now. So the Sentinels are getting repaired. This base is now Ramen's trying to build over there on the left now. The right side of the map is just going to become a no man's land. Nobody wants to go there anymore at all. The Vulture is chased into a Sentinel, which now has 4 kills and dies terribly. There's just units just all amassing over here, but a lot of them are Masons. And they're walking over to their death.
Yeah, that treasury gets destroyed yet again. I think he had to cancel the missile launch, if I'm not mistaken. There, he cast a radiate instead because he was in range of the Watchdog, and the Gorgon will help clean him out.
The Gorgon has arrived. It is tickling. It's tickling. Radiant goes out, but it may be too little, too late.
No.
The Seraph will eventually die.
Frozen by the Gorgon.
Some damage in.
Yeah, he'll kill the Gorgon.
More Gorgons are coming
from beyond the grave, but
just generally pretty useful units, especially in this case here. You can use them to immobilize nearly anything he's got. You can even use them against the cat packs if you want to. Not that they're very mobile to begin with, but if they're navigating around the map. I mean, when we look at the bottom left, one cat pack has 12 kills, the other has 25 kills. A lot of those are not workers. Those are military units that have tried to retake that and died constantly. Those have gotten an insane amount of mileage for Hamster, and I would say it's one of the things keeping him in the game at the moment. That said, when we look at the money, Hamster can go straight to tier 3 with the kind of money he's floating right now. But I think he's just getting a little too overwhelmed by all the random things going on. He hasn't made an effort to take that right side yet. Meanwhile, Ramen is still flooding units into the left here. He is determined to
He really wants the space, man.
No matter what.
Yeah, and the Ministry hasn't been able to land either. Oh, nice shellacking there. And you know what? There's only one cataphract as the Gorgons come in to show themselves. That's something Hamster is going to be able to use to his advantage. He's queued up some Ramses, wants to spend down his mineral cache.
And he can send on those Gorgons, start forcing out those tanks rather than sending in his ground units. He just won't let him build his treasury. No, you can't have it.
Yeah, it gets canceled.
It's mine. Meanwhile, Ramen finally forced out those 2 cat packs with insane kill counts.
But here's more.
For another 6 of them to come down to the bottom left.
Yep, denying that treasure. We got some Gorgons catching some phalanxes and freezing them. The rest of the units coming on in here. And Ramen reinforcements are trying to get across this bridge, but god damn, man, there's so much action. Imagine trying to actually play with all this stuff happening.
Yeah, there's just a lot of shit going on all over the place.
It's
That's why the right side of the map kind of got ignored, because now they're just... They kind of got into this fit where they just have to have this left base to the point that, well, I'm just going to start cross-map mining it. I'm going to make a statement. But there is another Seraph coming over there, and... there's like random Wraiths and Gorgons patrolling at the top, but
it's preventing from that. Here's the Seraph.
Won't catch this if it just does it from the corner. So
Seraph, it's just gonna float right on top.
On the right side.
Hold on, dude. The Daedala just got put down right in front of a nuke spot. It's not gonna be within range, but that nuke will go off, I think.
Oh no, the workers.
Yeah, the workers got to get out. Okay, he got it. He got it just in the nick of time. Wow, that was close. But another irradiate goes haywire in the top left.
That's definitely a precarious place for the dad, but maybe he has it there very intentionally. Meanwhile, the other Seraph gets much more mileage out of an irradiate. The Wraiths are tickling it.
Do not be a Mason in TVT. Whatever you do, do not reincarnate as a Mason in Terran versus Terran, dude. You will die. Statistical likelihood.
One final irradiate is launched as his dying breath.
Yeah, shut down the gas mining.
On the slash. There's actually a Valkyrie out now that the air unit cherry has been popped. So many vultures are dying miserable, disgusting deaths.
Don't worry. They killed the one phalanx.
The fucking healing meters.
Cleric tried to heal the mines. That's more important than my life.
One last love tap to the lobster god before being sent off. Meanwhile, there is a flaming stockade and a flaming treasury just chilling out there. Who knows if Ramen even knows that treasury even exists. This stockade may just drop and start building Ahmeds at any moment.
It's a good idea. Oh, the Seraph caught by the Ramses. Yep. It looks like it'll narrowly escape. Those are expensive units, man. Daedala nearly complete here for Hamster. We are going to go to tier 3, boys. Daedala's
if he starts
diadems,
it's going to get vicious. It's going to be pretty much impossible for those to get broken down. If he gets like 2 of them, it's short of being able to drop some nukes on them, Ramen's going to be... This ledge is going to get fucked. All he has to really do is build one kind of like behind this ministry on the left, and then just hold the line here and just devote a lot to it. He can take out this area here, and then if he takes that ramp, then it's pretty much over at that point, unless Ramen can do the same on the right side, but it's kind of in a little bit of a deficit at the moment. He does have a lot of money coming, but he's definitely behind the tech game now. So what will Hamster do with his tier 3?
Well, the Gorgon's guarding the main from this wounded Seraph. He's going to go ahead and deploy it right there. If Hamster sees it, this is a really debilitating thing. You can see Hamster's camera flipping between bases. Where is it? Yep. Where is it? Now he sees it, but he doesn't notice.
He's looking for this little red thing, which at least is easier to see than it was before. You can see Ramen is slowly beefing up, bulking up. He's got that right side getting walled up. He does not want to suffer the tragedy again, but the stockade could still start producing Ahmed's, and he wouldn't even realize it until it was too late. Some of these units are moving out. There is indeed a diadem being built in that base there, but Hamster is trying to poke this ledge here. Maybe he saw those units on the right side and is like, I wonder if anything's over here.
Yeah, it turns out there's plenty over there. You gotta watch out.
There's a lot over here. I'm gonna just let's not do that. That's a silly idea. Lobsters nibble away. Random units are getting pulled into each other.
Oh no, the Sentinel's on the high ground over
there. That could hypothetically get out a nuke here to try to zone out a potential push, but finishing off this diadem, which is about to finish, is going to be much more difficult. There are nanite assemblies being built all over in random places. You can build any number of things that could really help for here. You can make
there it is.
cars if you really wanted some frontal.
Right on top of the ministry next to the diadem, another nuke going down. Morningstar has been launched. It gets off. Tickled. It's good.
He killed a couple of workers from it. At this point, it's almost not worth it though, because it's gonna die, and the Gorgons should be able to survive.
Yep, they'll be fine actually.
Meanwhile, the diadem already has 1 kill here. Random workers are charging in, dying miserably. The biggest issue here is that now Hamster needs to get eyes on the army, because the army is moving out and it's going to go try to ignore this before it gets to be too difficult to navigate. And it looks like if he did make an attack down the center here, he could even destroy the Datala before it manages to really actuate too much, and maybe even cancel 2 of these nanite assemblies. There is a Magnetar being built.
Yep, trying to use Yamato on these clumped up mech armies here could definitely be an option.
But this is a bit of an all-in though, because Hamster could move all these units down the left, call the bluff, take that out, and then lift the diadem.
Yeah, inch it forward,
bring it over to the middle and hold that, and maybe like sack the right side, but then just go straight down to Ramen's main. So this is a little bit of a dangerous gamut for Ramen to pull, bringing all this force over here.
Yeah, he wants to shut down this base. He knows that a lot of workers have been moved over here, but here come the Magnetars. This could be the game ender. He's going to charge the Yamato. It's going to be good enough to soften up those cataphracts. Nice.
There's no clerics on the side of Ramen here, so every hit like that does do a lot of damage, even if it doesn't kill them. Some more Magnetar is being built. I think some Centaurs would have been great here just for their general AoE, and their speediness would allow them to go from base to base and keep things quite tidy all in one little group. There's units from Ramen going all over. There's a nuke being dropped in the tank cluster in front of that diadem on the left. And I don't think Hamster has any idea.
That should definitely go through. He's going to go ahead and undeploy. Okay, that will force him over. I mean, this is an opportunity for Ramen to be able to charge forth.
I like the little vulture bait there. They almost would have held up the tanks and possibly caused a headache here. Random units are kind of flooding in, but the tanks survive. The diadem stays alive. Looks like another nuke is going to go out here.
The Amatos are really starting to add up, though. There's not that much health left on these units for Ramen. Oh, you got to watch out for your own diadem shot, though. That's a big hit. One of the Magnetars has gone down, but there's not really any anti-air here at this point.
Ramen's in a terrible spot. The Irradiate did kill one of the tanks. He had kind of a run around to try to catch a tank as they came out. He's sending in another group here, but most of these tanks still have all their health. He can't do anything with that because other units are getting annihilated by the Magnetars. Magnetars don't even need Yamato when there's enough of them.
No, indeed.
There's a tickling going on here, trying to deny the sister base that Hamster has infested and nibbled on, chewed on even.
Yeah, the Cataphract tank line trying to move up here for Ramen. But now the Magnetars are en route. If he can get more Cataphracts up, he can actually snipe down one of those very wounded Magnetars.
Yeah, but they're just getting tickled. They're caught up on the workers trying to murder Nablime's countrymen. One of these Magnetar has 72 health.
One of them's got 24 as well. Yeah, it's real low.
It's almost not worth it trading for the workers at the moment because he's down to 15 military units.
His Valkyries got hung up on the enemy ministry as well, so they were not used against the actual mech or air units, right? So
Ramen is hoping to hold out for his own Magnetars that he's been constructing the back of all this. It slowed him down a little bit to get to this point, but I'm not sure he can stop this advance. If he loses his bottom left base, everything else is mined out. He doesn't really have the income.
Oh, battle workers, no!
Oh, no! The workers! Oh, my God!
Oh, Neblime, no, don't look.
Oh, the humanity. The Centaurs have arrived.
We're
still, okay. Oh, my God! Ramen is being very cheeky with his proxy sentinel attempting to snipe this huge tank line and get the, Ah!
Utter devastation. Utter devastation.
That was tragic.
Wow, the force is moving in on the bottom right as well. That was evil. I like that move. That was a good one. Colon D. The typing is starting. Oh man, the juiciest Yamatos you've ever damn seen.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, this is a little too rough here
so
for
many
Ramen.
Masons. This is gonna give Nebline PTSD if he ever sees this.
Yeah, it's way too many.
Look at this ever again.
Oh my goodness. Now he's coming on in with some more forces. Diadem targeting that 9 o'clock base. It will soon be wiped out, and I think Ramen's got to have a long look in the mirror, man. I mean, listen, the nukes were working wonders. Some of his strategies, not bad, but I feel like he reacted a little bit too slowly in this game. I think Hamster, he's played longer. He kind of knows the roster a bit more.
The Diadem kills the Magnetar before it gets the Ion off.
That's all right.
He gets one off, but they're little splits, so...
He's forcing out the third base as well,
Magnetars are staying alive. That was Ramen's hopes and dreams right there. There's a couple madcaps coming in.
A classic
You'd have to
move.
be mad to walk into that with only one dude behind you.
Well, as this one comes to a close, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can say pretty safely.
Here we go. Another.
Can we go? Can we get some more? Dude, it's a bloodbath.
Yeah. Did I desync?
That's rude. You can't type.
No, Shambler, you did not desync.
GG. Robin's like, I guess that's the signal. I'll GG now. If the admin's asking if I desynced, I should probably get out of here. Well,
dude, look at that elapsed time, though.
I know. 30. What the fuck? No way, dude. No way.
Hamster and Ramen built so many units. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Look at that unit count.
That was good. Some good stuff.
Ramen built 772 units. Hamster killed 671 of them, and at least 600 of those were Masons. Well, that was certainly a violent game one. Non-stop murder. Non-stop Mason murder.
Indeed, indeed. Boys, girls, that was some serious TVT right there. I am very amazed by what we have just witnessed. And you know what? It's only going to get better because we've got more replays. That was just game one.
That was game one.
That was game one. I can't believe it.
Are they going to handshake to a tier 3 cat pack slapfest every game? Or is someone going to get down and dirty?
Well, you know, there was the attempt at trying to close the game out way sooner than that between all the Vulture antics at the start. Like, it's hard to remember that was where we began this journey, but it was Vulture v. Vulture, you know, dancing with the mines. And now we're going to go to Maxia.
The attempted drops.
Yeah, there's some serious action in that. Well, I think we just go straight in. We keep it on going. Hey, this is a preview of Genesis Y if we get there, because obviously
so smooth.
So smooth. Thanks. I'm really good at this, Hamster.
Smooth.
I know what I'm doing about casting. This is, of course, Maxium. Don't let the fact that we have vertical spawns here fool you. Ramen in the top right. Is this Vivid Orange? It sure is. Hamster in the bottom right. He's going to make it easy on me. He always plays Celadon. That's definitely what I guessed.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
You gotta put on your 3D Nintendo glasses and see things through the Apple Bandai Pippin.
Dude, speaking of, I was commenting about this before we started, but apparently you can get Apple TV Plus for a short amount of time if you subscribe to me on Twitch. And that doesn't make any sense because Twitch is owned by Amazon, and Amazon is a competitor to Apple TV Plus. So I really don't know what the fuck they're doing. But anyway, Ramen's going to Corey first again.
Ramen's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, he was up by a good amount of work.
It's starting to look a little familiar, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like Ramen's APM.
Mm-hmm.
It's
hands warm.
11.
Hands warm.
Sometimes I have to wonder if that desyncs replays.
I mean, the more actions that you do, the higher likelihood it is that the game breaks. Just saying.
It also makes the file size larger. Think about it. You're occupying like a whole kilobyte of space on our hard drives by cycling thousands of actions.
Well, think about it. I think that's perfectly valid if you're trying to inflate the file size so that you don't use it as a guesstimate for how long the replay is. Because maybe I see a 500 kilobyte file and I'm like, God damn, this must have been an hour. And actually it was just a...
It's like 10 minutes.
It was HitEmUp versus Ramen 7 pulling each other. That was it.
Yeah. Just what they do is they just have one of those G keys cycling between two Zeps.
Yeah. Not enough.
Not enough.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, Hamster. He's
100%.
talking about Ramen's 8 p.m. He's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Dude, Ramen must be so
He
confused.
knows.
I'm confused. I don't know what he's talking about. All right, the Vulture has left the building. It is going to intercept the Mason Scout. We'll see if that ends up being yet another point of contention here. As Ramen, him not scouting super fast actually has been something that happened on the first map as well, although this one was a much delayed scout. His Vulture's already out, so really no worries there. And
dude, if you're
no
going to do what
opportunity for
Ramen's
punish.
doing and you just go greedy opening,
Yeah.
you don't bother scouting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if you're going to go all in, you may as well go in. It's like that FFA, I went like quarry into expand with not a single military unit. I don't bother to scout. Like, dude, they could build any unit under the sun. I'm going to die the same way either way. You may as well just be greedy.
Well, speaking of, Ramen's actually he's going some real action there with those fast vultures, and there's only one in Okay, hold on. We might have the antithesis of game one here, because Ramen's going to come on down here with 2 vultures,
Oh
cancel
my
the
God,
treasury.
they're coming.
Here come the battle workers. They're ready.
The battle workers
ready to charge forward.
They are ready to charge forward. All right, here we go.
Oh, he gets a good stun off on his opponent. Here come the battle workers.
Battle workers.
No
Cut 'em
casualties
up.
yet.
Cut him up.
Oh, he does end
Fuck
up
'em
getting
up.
one of them.
He got one. But dude, it's one worker for the game. That could have been really, really bad. And he even manages to save the base here.
Well, he picks off the wounded vulture as well. Now he's got to fall on back. He's got his second one. I don't know if Ramen can end here, but he's ahead by almost 10 workers. Like, this is not
Good response.
not a small amount, you know? Narrowly avoids losing his other vulture there. That could have been bad. The battle workers were still hanging around, just seeing what's going on. They're going to fall on back now. Needs to repair that guy. There you go. He doesn't have another one coming.
Yeah. Battle workers.
Oh my God, the lobster wars have. He really needs to be able to capitalize on this. He can't let opportunities like that slip by. That could have been another dead vulture.
I think sticking one right in the corner of that ledge there would be a good idea,
Yeah.
just to get like an early shot in, just to soften them up a little bit.
Yes, he's going quarry behind this. He's putting a quarry and a palladium down. He's got no military units. My man, Hamster, no. Oh, what have you done?
Oh, he attacked the wrong vulture. Maximum gains. Bring out the boys.
Oh, he didn't stun his own enemy.
Yeah, that's a bluff. You see how Ramen stepped back? He didn't understand the power of the hand.
Oh,
He didn't believe in the power.
Oh,
No.
it's over.
Nah, it's not. Dude, he's still got battle workers. Fuck him up.
One hit on that vulture. One tap that vulture.
Fuck him up.
Oh,
Fuck him up. He don't know what to do. Oh, he got one cut in.
Oof.
Battle workers. You
Oh,
offer yourself to the
shit.
battle workers.
Oh my
You're prepared
God.
to get
The
destroyed.
double tap. Oh, evisceration. A single phalanx is
Oh,
on the
fuck, there's more of them.
Dude,
Dude, he's got a phalanx on the way. He's got this. He's in control.
just don't siege it.
Battle workers
Whatever you do, do
walk
not siege
so
it.
we could run. One down. Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
Oh my God,
Fuck
the
him up.
workers.
Yeah.
The worker
Get the
death.
battle workers out. Get the battle workers out. This piece of shit's on your lawn. Don't treat on me.
He's treating.
Oh my God, there's more of them. Dude, this tank is basically going to be unkillable for a while. Oh, the battle
There's a
workers
second
gave
one
him a
coming.
slap.
Oh, look at
Sucked
that.
up all the lobsters. Suck them back, daddy.
Unfortunately,
This vulture is fucked. Where are you going, dude? Bye.
There's more there.
Another one is out. Dude, there are lobsters everywhere. This is a seafood-only diet. Workers are chowing down.
Oh my God, what a mess.
They keep coming.
Yeah, it's more.
It should be
he's got
obvious
three
to
more.
him at this point. He's not going to be killing 2 phalanxes with 3 vultures, but
No.
he I guess he's in on that quarry or something. I don't know. But this is
He is up by 25 workers or something. Oh, the stun. No, he's gonna get the quarry. Oh, it's a mess. It's a disaster. It's over.
It's a tragedy.
That's so much gas.
Yeah, but he's paid for that quarry with like.
Oh, he killed his own vulture. He last hit him. He denied it.
Maximum lobster gains. Hamster turns the wheels. Punishes Ramen.
I can't believe
Steps on him. Consumes the lobsters.
Well, the third base is going down for Ramen, and Star Pad's coming up for Ramen, and he's got 3 fulcrums.
About that. There is 8 kills, 6 kills, 1 kill between those tanks.
That's right. That's over 1,500 damage.
That's a lot of kills. Not counting the battle workers sniping the random ones. Another is offered to the tank gods. You know, I'm looking at Ramen's base right now, and I'm seeing this Mason sitting there. I wonder, is he just going to go just straight to tier 2?
Yeah.
Just go for heavy air. I mean, he could.
He is very far ahead right now.
It's very, very far ahead.
Corey on the third immediately.
Has a couple of vultures.
Scooping up the Trojans for a drop, a Cyclops drop here coming up.
Some Wyverns would be really choice right about now.
He got the minerals, but not the gas.
Going for the Cyclops drop. I mean... When we look at Hamster's base, he's got his own Trojan.
Atlas.
Oh, and away he goes. They will cross paths.
I think they will. Yeah. Yeah, they will.
Well, they notice each other, though.
No, there goes the vulture.
Hamster has hesitated by the poking. Well, he spotted. He did.
Counter drop.
Counter
drop.
Oh,
he gets this. He gets the shot there. That's pretty good. What will you do?
Ramen can sacrifice Cyclops to try to spike this worker line, but I think it takes 2 shots to kill. So
yeah,
he's just kind of stuck there. Some workers were chilling in.
Meanwhile, the natural.
There's a million other ones. Dude, he's got 2 more phalanxes. They're not killing him anytime soon.
Oh, he's gonna unload right on top of the phalanx. No.
Oh, suck him up.
Oh, he got scooped up. He got scooped up. He's got 3 health.
Dude's got 3 HP. Repair him. Suck him up.
Yeah, he got him. He got him. Evacuated him. Saving Private Phalanx.
Really deranged.
Wait, look. He's going to do it over here, too. He's going to catch the workers.
Ramen is getting unhinged.
Dude,
he's got
he's
so much
vulture drop.
Money in the bank.
Vulture drop. Yeah.
He's got so much money in the bank.
I know. Neither player building anything for a while.
This tank has no health and just keeps killing. He will not be contained.
Can't keep getting away with it. There's not a single anti-air unit in the game for Hamster. He's making 2 Goliaths, so they're going to be a while.
Ramen had almost enough money to go to tier 3. He's making mantles when he could just make some starports and put an end to this tragedy. But instead, the tragedy will reach its 3rd act. Hamster's base is just littered in random shit. All the bodies from the constant atrocities he's been forced to endure. And still, he holds on.
Meanwhile, all of these lobotomy mines just casually hanging out there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of lobsters this game, and a lot of them are still lingering, laying in wait, which Hamster is going to have to run into over and over and over again. Every lobster, a pinch.
Oh. Oh. That was close.
All right. Okay.
I thought for a second that.
Meanwhile, base number 4 is coming up.
Dude, how demotivating is it going to be for Hamster to walk up here and get hit by cataphracts? I can't believe this game is still going. To be honest, I thought for sure it was over as those vultures came in.
It's just an extension of game 1, is all. It's like an alternate deranged dimension where vultures die to workers en masse. The revenge of the Mason.
Well. Problem
speaking
of drops, there's 3 vultures and 5 Cyclops coming in that Trojan, double Trojan.
Yeah, there's nothing inside of Hamster's base now, so he's got some money, and that's really about it.
There is a sieged phalanx inside that Trojan, but it's very far away. It's going to take a while before it can counter drop.
He does have some Anseals. He can bring him over. There's 1 Goliath that dies. He could use the Anseals to protect the workers and do a heroic charge. Instead, Hamster is very focused on the fight right now, where he has just slaughtered billions and billions of Masons, while his own Masons being... Oh, they're biting. Oh, a Cyclops died. It's just Masons have died every minute of this game. There are Masons dying.
Remember when I said do not be a Mason in TVT? Do not be a Mason in TVT. It is a bad, bad, bad place to be. Ramen ties the series up with some very interesting shenanigans.
The amount killed is 70 to 73. And most of those are either vultures or masons.
Could be lobotomy mines.
The sick blur. Exclamation point ver.
That means that he's on a different version. It's telling you. It's helpful.
That match was completely deranged.
Well, what matters is the dub, and Ramen has one now. So now we go to Blackwater Bastion, yet another 4-spawn map. Remember, Paradise waits in the wings, and Genesis Y will be our decider if we need it. So after this one of our players will be on Series Point. But I don't know what to expect, man. We had a really long one that was crazy back and forth, lots of cool stuff happening. We had that one that was just absolutely insane. I'm glad that we were given it. Now, let's see, do we normalize? Do we equalize? We get like a 25-minute game? Let's find out, because the first one was 33.33. I can't believe that happened. Hamster, seal it on bottom left. Tyrant, Ramen, bottom right. Tyrant, just red. Just red.
Just red.
Just red.
That is the color of blood, which is the Mason color. As at least before the end of the second game, Hamster was able to murder countless Ramen Masons once again.
Yes, that's right.
That is how hamsters subsist, by the way. They subsist only on Mason blood. That game was incredibly violent. You know, I think against a lot of other players, Hamster might have actually been able to bounce back from that. Obviously, against someone who is multitasking very, very well, expanding constantly behind that, it looked fairly one-sided, but that's just the macro capability that Ramen has.
Yeah.
A lot of other people are going to get overly focused on the micro, trying to end the game. And then suddenly, when he moves out, you don't think he's going to actually move out of that point. It's basically like a last-ditch gamble. But there are not, like, it takes to be the higher-class players to be able to be in such a position where you are building your fourth base on the back of this literal non-stop insanity and constant pressure that he is somehow managing to escape. And there was definitely a few slip-ups, like losing vultures to masons or whatever, but a lot of people's micro aren't up to stuff to dealing with that. So it was definitely like a testimony to Hamster's resilience that he was able to last that long. Now, again, it's going to be like Corey first every single game.
Yeah.
Especially since they're like all 4-player maps.
Yeah.
And really long distances.
What's Hamster's reaction to that, right? That's the question. He won the game on
Corey first too.
Yeah, he won the game on the 2-spawn. He did not pick up the game on the 4-spawn map. This one is yet another 4-spawn, and once again he's going to scout his opponent the last scout. That's what happened to him on Maxium as well. So that's a little bit of a doozy. He is going to put his quarry down a little bit later. But at least he'll have the safety of the vulture, and it will head over to the bottom right. Looks like he's going to lay some mines
Now,
this time.
interestingly here is Hamster is, well, he's sticking the lobster in his choke there because, well, he might suspect something stupid is afoot. I thought he might actually just go back entirely here. Suspecting that shenanigans are en route and that the early aggro won't be successful again. So he's kind of like just sort of pitching a tent over here.
Yeah, if that vulture goes through the low ground instead of the high ground, Ramen might end up losing that to the forward vulture positioning here. Actually, he's going to go after the scout. This is interesting. This is going to open up Hamster with the opportunity to just kill this vulture. And now all of a sudden, Ramen's in trouble. Body block. Nice. We like that.
Hamster clogs his poop chute and bites.
Oh, he might even sweep some mines as well.
He's going to grab all the lobsters.
Oh, everybody gets...
The Mason is
I like that the vultures... Yeah, they sniped the one that was headed for the Mason, so it only slowed the movement speed, but not much else. You got to watch out here. That doesn't slow the attack rate, so those are going to work out very nicely. He can even repair thanks to his Mason scout staying alive.
You know, it's almost worth it trying to build an anchor here at this point.
Yeah, you've got enough.
If you set your feet down, you put an end to the constant back and forth.
Oh, Ramen's already doing it. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So he suspects that each and every game is going to end in battle workers.
He's going to put down his own mines again.
That Hamster took off repairing the one vulture and is repairing the other one right now.
Yes, he's going to fix that now, it looks like.
It's actually going to be immediately switching into a star pad. I feel like Hamster wants to go Wraiths.
it could be one ant seal to snipe the mines from a safe
Could
distance.
be an ant seal, yeah.
And then also shield yourself going up the ramp. But with the anchor
A
up...
Wraith would be really good, though, because he can force out, like, Cyclops, force out Watchdogs.
Yeah.
Try to slow down the tempo or force his opponent to respond to that. An ant seal wouldn't be bad, though. Certainly if he wants to do a ramp bust, which...
Oh, it's double
He's
star
not making
pad.
like a double fulcrum here, so it's going to be kind of hard. It's double star pad, so I am thinking it's Wraiths.
Yeah. I mean, you usually only build a second star pad if you need Wraiths. I mean, you can do it later in the game to go like mass ant seal or what have you, but that is about it.
Oh,
That's a good little
embraced
sweep.
by lobsters.
Yeah.
The sacrifice is accepted. I'll really just send a Mason down there. He has a lot of them.
Yes, once again, he's up by a significant amount of workers in the early game. Ramen definitely able to do
Losing
that.
the early vultures just doesn't seem like it helps that much. Because if he had the extra vulture, he could just try to fight these straight up. But Hamster is going to pull back here, going for the third star pad. There is a Manor Watchdog setting up shopkeeping in the top there that will spot this very soon.
That's going to telegraph the attack, and I think that's going to take a lot of the wind out of Hamster's sails. You factor that into the worker count being higher, a ministry expand for Ramen, going to catapult him even further with the workers. This looks like serving up a Ramen victory here in a moment, is my call. Going to take a while, but...
He can drop that Watchdog and cause them additional headaches.
That's true. That's true. He could just start attacking the Wraiths.
Yeah.
Fight me, dog.
Especially when there's only like 2 of them, he might even be able to kill one. I think Hamster's aware that shenanigans might be afoot, but now there will be dogs walking the streets of Compton, nibbling and barking, yapping.
5 Fulcrum
Probably
here.
all of them are Yorkies. Munchkin Yorkies, just yapping, very ear-piercing.
It is the classic move.
But nonetheless, he's got 3 star pads. He may as well use them. At the very least, he's going to shut down any aggro for a little while. It's going to force basically Cyclops and or Goliaths. Currently has 3 Goliaths, which they're also a good response to the Vultures as well because they're a little bit more beefy. But I think it's more like he's just going to hang back with the Wraiths at the moment. He is moving them up north, but he can heckle the production. And but it has 4 armor, so actually destroying them is kind of
difficult.
out of the cards. Yeah. So
yeah, if he were to add like 2 ant seals with the Wraiths, you could just start sniping Watchdogs at that point because you kind of ignore their damage.
You can snipe the military units too. If you start killing tons of military units, then things can get pretty out of hand.
Oh, he's gonna pick some workers.
A little bit of a trade here.
He's actually brought it down to within 2 workers, so. We actually like that. He is losing a lot of his Wraiths on the way out, unfortunately. More of them on the rally as well. They're just going to be sacrificed.
Oh, my God. I looked back just to see them die.
Yeah. Not ideal there from Hammy, but he's got a Phalanx coming. You know, Wraith Phalanx, we saw that work out pretty nicely.
Yep.
So,
yeah, Mystery Meat managed to make that work pretty well. Just pure Phalanx with some Wraiths to... Wraiths kind of got countered early on, but...
Oh.
And these are going to die miserably. At least they'll spot the army, but some vultures are getting picked off as they're separated by the pack.
Yeah, that's actually all of the mines that were down have been swept by those forward vultures. So there's nothing really preventing this attack forward. The Phalanx on the high ground might make Ramen reconsider. He's mostly got specialists for anti-air.
Yeah, he takes a lot of damage from the Phalanx, and the Wraiths might be able to snipe him, but
battle workers.
It's too large of an area to cover from that ledge, so kind of like trying to pick off some of the stragglers here before they assemble too much. Meanwhile, battle workers have joined the front.
That one Cyclops needs to be focused down. It's doing so much damage. So many workers have fallen because of it. Down 10 workers, Hamster, and counting. A lot of those units very bruised.
The Cyclops, it did way more damage than the Goliaths against the workers there. The Goliaths take a while to actually kill the workers, but nonetheless.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He's moving in. He didn't have to move in there. He could have even gone further back to force back, but he's going to try to finish off these tanks. These Wraiths can kind of swoop in here and finish them off in the meanwhile. One tank goes down.
Battle workers.
A little bit of micro necessary here to sustain the AoE damage.
Okay, well, he's stabilized somehow, but he is down 20 workers at the end of that, and a third base coming up online for Ramen. Halfway complete. It is a treasury, so his worker count won't continue to jump up too much, but... It's rough.
Still
this is looking
spamming
real rough.
Rants as now his opponent has switched mostly to mass Cyclops. This is not the situation you want to be in, but the Phalanxes can fight this.
Atlas now for Ramen.
The army is a little bit more frail, just higher threat against the air. Ah! If he keeps the Wraiths alive and just keeps punishing the Cyclops with tanks, then this is actually a pretty good situation for Hamster for reasons that are pretty clear by that.
Yep. Yeah, that works. That's actually going to extend play a little bit because Ramen's kill threat is basically evaporated as he's expanding and teching at the same time. There's no kill threat to respond. Obviously, Hamster is continuing to produce some Wraiths here and there, but he's actually shut down his military production for the time being. He just wants to entrench his position. He is making the stockade. I guarantee you that's for a Vestry add-on. He can get some Shamans to heal his Wraiths up for free.
Yep.
But right now, it's Ramen with the military.
Is going to be vicious because he can build a Seraph. He can build Valkyries. Catfax will work against this. You might enter another situation where it becomes very drawn out of Catfax versus tanks, but they'll certainly shut down the Wraiths, and Cyclops are proving to be a bit of a thorn of his side here. It's not worth engaging the Cyclops at this point, just making sure that no tanks or anything join that line. Otherwise, you can kind of like fly around with the Wraiths in the map and just make sure you're checking for, maybe like stray watchdogs being built to scout, these third bases that have nothing defending them whatsoever, other things like that. Hamster instead is going to try to take his own third here. There is a lobster there, which two lobsters actually, which maybe I don't think they block it.
No, you just land on them and blow them up. Oh, but you can kill your own Mason. Oh my goodness.
It's a massacre. Well, the body count has increased by 1. Another Mason has been erased from existence. Indeed, it will be triple mantle, so it'll be Catfax once again, as lobsters nibble Ramen's various Cyclops. Some tanks kind of gingerly spaced out over here, but nothing immediately defending this base here. He'll actually just catch this army a little bit. Trading some Wraiths for these Goliaths here. The Goliath's actually getting in some good damage.
Yeah.
Killing several of those. He's able to deny this third. He won't be able to destroy it because it is fairly beefy, but a little bit of a trade, but ultimately denying the eco growth of Hamster is beneficial as he has the mantles now finished and Catfax have just been queued up.
I don't actually know. Okay, we did get a Shaman.
Catfax.
We did get a Shaman after all, so.
Unfortunately, so many of the Wraiths have already died.
Yeah.
This is starting to feel like a bit of a sunk cost fallacy for Hamster here.
Yeah, that's right.
He has many, many vultures queued up in his fulcrums and is now adding his own mantles as he's been hoarding away at tier 2.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised he was able to make that happen. His 3 Wraiths in the middle of the map spot more reinforcements. They start to fall on back. Very healthy Wraiths, 15 of them. And you know what? The Cyclops have mostly fallen away. It's not until the Cataphracts start to come out that you're really going to ward these off kind of quote-unquote for good. But there's only 4 Cyclops here. Like with a good micro and target selection, you can pick those off and start to contest the Goliaths a little bit. But doesn't want to do it just yet. Wants to wait for more Wraiths. The Phalanxes could theoretically take care of the Cataphracts. It's just a question of like...
especially with the healing.
Yeah.
He's got the Shaman and he's making Clerics. So we're almost entering the same situation in the first game where it's like the Catfax aren't really the greatest answer to this. And the more tanks that show up with a second Palladium having been built, the more likely it's going to get stalemated and it's going to turn into basically pure eco again. One final slap on the ass. Oh, and another. That actually caught some of the Wraiths that are not following the stack now. And the thing is, the Wraith stack will continue to grow, and it's very similar to Meat. And Ramen has not respected this.
No.
He built defenses when they first showed up, but
he's got nothing at the third, fourth, or fifth.
This third base it's quite beefy now. There's 28 workers that are totally undefended. This other base has nothing defending it. This other base is about to get shut down. That's probably going to prompt him to start building anti-air defenses.
Yes.
But now he's taking damage that was definitely going to be avoidable in these other bases if Hamster quickly... No, he's actually going to pull back. That will be a critical issue. He sees the army coming and he wants them to help defend, but he does have some Catfax of his own here, as long as he focuses down.
Yeah, he needs good target selection on the Phalanxes as well. That is going to be a key detail. All those Goliaths get brought down so low by the splash. Cataphracts help finish them off. You can see Cataphracts and the Phalanxes pairing so nicely together, but
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Some of these are also wounded. Maybe the Wraiths themselves will even be good enough to pick them up. Yeah.
Particularly when they're fighting and facing away, they definitely can kill these.
Yeah.
But currently, it's the tank count that Hamster really needs, and he's only got the one at the moment. And then the one on the ledge, he hasn't moved yet. Both players are sitting on a fair sum of money. We do see the Starport building its add-on for Ramen, so it'll probably go back into Seraphs and attempts to nuke here.
Yeah, Anvil started.
There's no anti-air inside of Hamster's base, so...
The Sentinel going to try to help pepper down these Cataphracts. Here come the Wraiths now, absorbing a lot of that forward damage. A couple of them are going to go down. Needs to deploy that Phalanx. Some Vultures from the back line, kind of confusing Hamster's units.
Needs to bring the Wraiths behind them so that they can't hit them.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he'll looks like he'll hold out on this, although it's kind of a costly fight all in all.
Oh, he's stabbing forward with the Vulture Cataphract as well, so he's definitely, wounded Hamster's military. Did a little bit of heckling on the worker count. And again, that fourth base is very well fortified with all those watchdogs now, so the moment is past that Hamster can really abuse the Wraiths and their mobility. Third Fulcrum now.
Starting to float a lot of money here, so he's adding more production. Trying to maybe think about what to do. Cataphracts and Vultures being queued up, just going to keep sticking to the same mold. And at this point, the eco difference is going to be quite significant, so he will eventually just be able to force this down in one big march. And Hamster, on the other hand, doesn't really have a response to this. He's still kind of stuck to the Wraith Terran build here, or Wraith tank build. And the Seraphs can easily deal with it. Some well-placed irradiates can just drop their health very low, and then the Cataphracts can finish off the Wraiths, and then he can just kind of like force down the tanks. Inefficient it might be, it'll still work. Especially with the 100 to 163 worker difference with Ramen now taking one of the top right bases. The Wraiths might be able to shut this down, though. If they can aggro this, they can take out this other base that's incidentally no watchdogs there, so it's kind of like Ramen kind of like forgets.
Oh, the natural now is being nuked, though, so Hamster's got to split his focus on that. He hasn't looked down and see it yet. Now he's going to pull away. But that's a dead quarry, probably a dead reservoir. Valuable target still.
The two Masons mining the ridge to the very end.
That's right.
Meanwhile, a Vulture is harassing that left base there.
Hey, the Ministry.
Some Vultures died trying to enter the area for Hamster. Maybe Ramen was kind of like hoping to distract the Vultures there. That can work sometimes.
Yeah, he charged forward, took a lot of damage on those Cataphracts. Just got to watch out for that.
This Cleric Catfact is standing tanking the world. Vultures have died. In the left side, one Catfact is being cut off here. Spots this little squad plodding along, some of which is wounded. And they're getting kind of pulled all over the place.
You can see the trajectory of the army here for Ramen as the Ministry is forced to lift at 9 o'clock. Hamster is not going to be able to take the space very securely.
Oh, the Clerics, they were following the wounded Masons and all died.
That's bad. Starting to get more and more workers set up here in those other extra satellite bases.
These are very wounded, so Hamster can definitely fight this. He was kind of retreating here. Didn't really need to. But now this ledge is definitely unapproachable. Tanks are being pulled in, but they're beefy enough they can take a few tickles.
The Wraiths
just... That got dropped on the Wraiths.
Yeah, just sniped the Seraph. That was really good there from Hamster. Denies any further distraction from that for the time being. Problem is, he does not have the macro to keep up with Ramen's military production on the ground, so...
He's got so much money, though. He's just... Yeah. He's so disgusting rich, but he can't spend it. He never added any more than a third fulcrum to that, so when that third base got rolling, his money started floating a lot.
Look at the Cataphract staying alive for so damn long thanks to their armor.
Yeah. He does manage to clear that out, but Ramen is slowly amassing Masons. 210 to 104. A lot of them are idle. They're chilling out there in the right there, forgotten about.
Just only 35
sharing bedtime
or
stories,
so,
but you know, when he's got that much money, 2,000 minerals while spamming Goliaths, that his income is absolutely insane.
Yes. He's sitting pretty on that. He just needs to spend down the cash. No tier 3 for him just yet.
I don't know. It feels like he's caught himself in that same situation of game 1 where he's trying to perform the most inefficient way to end the game possible. Sieging the tanks directly in front of the Cat Packs is a little risky because he dropped their armor while not doing any damage in return. He could have pushed forward really hard into that.
Yeah.
He pulled back and wasn't able to punish that. There's a Wraith that is instantly erased. And that one Cat Pack just spun around faster than he can ever possibly walk. Another nuke is being dropped on that. The Wraiths are coming over there.
Yeah, they'll snipe it
calling
down
this
before.
bluff.
That's not going to be able to finish, unfortunately, for Ramen. And there it goes.
Easy clap.
One of the reasons to
Vultures
keep
find
that
more
Wraith
players.
squad for a while versus TopRamen, I guess. HitEmUp taking notes, I'm sure. Ministry now.
Oh my god, they're dying miserably.
Yeah.
These little vulture tickles are causing him problems. As a result of units getting split up, this army runs into something fairly equivalent, but they're attacking the Cat Packs and not the tanks. So the tanks are getting a shit ton of damage in on them. And these trades are not going terribly efficiently for Ramen right now, which is the main reason why Hamster is still in the game. The front line dies, but not before the back line kills so much of that army. The Wraiths come in and are instantly shredded by reinforcements.
Yeah, look at the 9 o'clock as well. That Ministry's not going to be canceled. Not that he needs the minerals. But this is looking pretty grim for our Hamster boy.
He's got to muster the battle workers. Yeah, fuck him up! Fuck him up!
Yeah, get him.
Meanwhile, the Ramen army is forced back as the Vultures suffer disgusting defeat.
I can't believe it. Oh, they've been nibbled to
the
death.
Massacre. And there's another Seraph loitering around over here trying to nuke this watchdog. Fuck that dog in particular.
And there's only the
There's
two
only
Wraiths.
2 Wraiths. And the Anseal that kind of like aggressively rubs into him.
Trying to displace him away to cancel the nuke. He got it.
It doesn't even... Oh, no, it irradiated 1 Mason.
That's it.
And the Seraph dies anyways. Rip.
Rest in peace.
253 workers. This is a Nablime game. Most of them are still idle on that right side of the map.
Yeah, he hasn't
just-
noticed.
He's just on autopilot for workers. This is the Nablime
I
zone.
could have sworn I made a lot of workers for this top right main. That's weird.
Yeah, I wonder where the workers went. There's just a little stream of them coming from
Hey,
elsewhere.
Datala in the top right. Meanwhile, distance
Well.
mining operations were about to begin in the
Oh,
Top
the
left third.
lobsters are finding workers everywhere. He didn't add any additional sentinels to this base that he worked so hard to cut up those vultures for.
yeah.
So he's getting tickled, and that's going to be a literal uphill battle. Ramses die miserably.
Trying to repair the
Heracles charge
Sentinel, but the
forward.
multi-target from the Cataphracts is too high. Kills all the Masons that were repairing it. Now, Ramen's Cataphracts on the low ground do get cleaned up, but can they destroy the Ministry in time? I'm not sure. They wipe the workers at least.
There's so many more coming. I feel like that if Hamster had spent some of that 2,500 minerals on Sentinels, he could have been in a little bit better spot in that top left. But
They do have a bit of a Vespian cost now, but yeah, he had the resources to do it. GG has to be called.
yeah,
Ramen
Hamster
can't keep it
eventually
going.
Succumbs.
Yeah. Ramen
There
continues
is so
on.
much in the map. Just forces his way through, just sending endless waves of cat packs and various other units to their senseless, violent deaths. 229 units killed for Hamster, which is more than the 206 for Ramen, who built 572 units.
Crazy stuff, man. Well, we go to Paradise for the next game. At this point, TopRamen is on series point. On paper, an upset, but like I said, this could go either way, 50-50 kind of thing. Is he going to 3-1 it? Is it going to be like HitEmUp versus Veek 7?
Maybe. I feel like Hamster will not be going for Wraiths again.
Yeah.
The response was kind of like half and half, but when they initially came out was the key part. The early Watchdog Scout paid off very well, otherwise that could have been quite devastating. And after that, he kind of got sunk into it with the triple star pad Vestry, and while the Vestry was probably something he was going to eventually get anyways, the triple star pad helped him deal a little bit with the Seraphs, but never really got him into the commanding position he needed, and part of that was just not noticing those expansions and being able to take advantage of them. I don't think he ever even scouted those areas. So he never quite knew that there was So many juicy Masons just waiting to be exploited and spanked and punished.
Yeah, it was a really big opportunity for those Wraiths to find value later on into the game, but did not end up happening. Ramen in the bottom left. I'm going to say Palatinate purple. It's Tyrian purple. Fine.
Annihilated.
And Hamster in the top left. I mean, it's easy every time. It's Celadon. It'll never be a color other than Celadon.
That's
like
cheating. This is fucking under the table bet matching here. Savior from 2010 has returned and destroyed us all.
I would like to see him play Cosmonarchy. And I would also like him to see him play for a while and then say, oh, I desync, and then rage quit, and that's how he throws in Cosmonarchy. Yeah.
Dude, if Savior played this and said he was going to destroy everybody in 2030, I would believe it.
Could happen. Could happen. Well, Hamster is once again scouting the wrong way on a 4-spot map. Poor guy, dude. He's going to go... He's never deviated from the box scout. So there's no reason for him to do so now, in my mind. And it will be, yet again, Quarry first for Ramen. So there has been a pattern emerging for these games.
I mean, I think I would do the same at this point. If he drops a match, whatever, but at least you dropped a match doing what you believed in. Greed max all the time, 100% of the time.
Of course, of course. Well, some interesting stuff for sure. I mean,
go into the vault. This is the thing. It's not just been the Quarry first. It's always been the Vulture dance first.
Yes.
As well, it's always been the same.
Fulcrum Vulture Quarry, or Fulcrum Quarry Vulture, something like that for Hamster, right? And then it's Quarry Fulcrum Vulture for Ramen every time. And also Hamster scouting his opponent last every time.
Yeah.
That's also been
the Vulture is always the one to find his opponent.
Yeah.
And he always I like how he always takes the lobster halfway there too.
Yeah, he's trying to anticipate the pathing of his opponent's Vulture. And if that's indeed where Ramen's going to go, oh, look at that. He even cut up his opponent's Mason.
Oh my god. Hamster's workers are so violent. They really are like feral hamsters. You stick your finger anywhere near them, they just start biting. Look at him. He's nibbling.
That's right.
And that fucks up his attacking too, so he manages to save some health on his vultures.
Yeah, I mean, there's already some forward mines over here, but it doesn't look like Ramen wants to even chance it.
They're gonna get sucked up, yeah.
By everybody.
Total lobster sucking.
Everybody gets in on the action.
You can almost go for a ramp bust, but unfortunately the second vulture just finished, so...
Dude, that's all of Ramen's wives and girlfriends down there.
I feel like an early anchor, the mystery meat anchor.
Yeah.
And to drop it on the ramp, the lobsters, I don't think, can stun it.
So far, I will say Hamster's kept up a lot better in worker count this time. So this isn't nearly as bad as it was the last couple of games, but, I guess give it time. Maybe the macro slip-ups are where the worker count dwindles. I'm not really sure. All I know is that typically Ramen's been pretty far forward. Needs to pounce on this opportunity, but that Vulture was playing Minesweeper. Here comes some more. Nice snipe on the fadeaway there, and good focus fire subsequently. He needs to focus down that last one. Okay, he is going to get him at the end of the day. I think he targeted the lobotomy mine instead, so he's got to dance around that. He's going to go ahead and pick the last one there. A forward watchdog for some reason.
The watchdog. Hamster wants to see the tech of his opponent or something.
Well, this is
it's for the anchor. There's some kind of 8D fucking rock paper hamster going on here.
Does Hamster
But there's
beat
nothing
rock?
actually in that anchor at the moment. But the watchdog, it exists. It's there.
It sure does.
The Manor watchdog.
The anchor does exist as well.
And off it goes. Away it goes. Bye. If he had made an anchor and put a vulture in that anchor and dropped it on the ledge right now, suddenly Ramen is in a very stupid position where he has to move his anchor next. Anything that goes by gets shot.
Yeah.
And he might even lose the anchor war if there was 2 vultures inside of it. At the very least, he would take some damage. And now he has a watchdog inside of his base that he has no way to destroy.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is an interesting situation. You don't often.
Meanwhile, Hamster is flipped over to double Goliath.
Yeah, watchful of any potential air raid, but his watchdog did scout the main, I think. So
I don't know. Well, I think at this point it's I don't really want to opt into just pure vulturetism, and he might be suspecting another major vulture. The
Goliaths are also here to snipe the enemy watchdog scout that comes in from Ramen.
Yeah, maybe. Yo, there it is. It's coming.
Yeah.
I knew you would come.
I planned for this eventuality.
I opened the kennel and you arrived.
All according to Keikaku.
Lobsters. Lobster. Oh my god, it's a fucking massacre. It's all over his raccoon wounds.
Evisceration and annihilation. Vulture
It's
spam
okay.
wins.
He's got Goliaths. Their damage isn't very high, but they are beefy. So they should be able to deal with this, especially since some of these are already wounded. Okay, only one is wounded. Actually, you know, if he rounded up all of his vultures, I think he might actually be able to kill these.
He could certainly just charge up and ignore the vultures, or ignore the Goliaths, and go straight for, you know, a juicy quarry in the main or something. Instead, he wants to pivot around down here.
Oh, the watchdog is pulling aggro off of the workers. That takes a few little precious rounds of damage.
Battle.
That probably
workers.
saves a mason or two. Oh, battle workers.
Ah, man. They were actually even on workers before that move, so... Was it worth it to sacrifice all those vultures? I don't know, but if Ramen cancels off future aggro...
So. It's,
maybe.
I think he should have either tried to target down the Goliaths or just not committed.
One thing that is...
when both players already have 2 quarries, it feels like it's not worth it to lose early military like that.
The one thing I will say is that since Ramen Ministry expanded, he has 4 workers every 15 seconds instead of 3. So if he's just thinking
building
about
another
it like that,
watchdog, he wants to know
yeah,
what bullshit Hamster's up to, but he isn't up to any. He's just
making the Palladium.
He's just playing it straight and standard, and that might scare Ramen more than anything.
That's right.
Oh no, the stockade! It's the omen of death from the first game, the floating stockade.
Oh,
The
yeah.
harbinger of pure, unfiltered autism and mass mason murder.
Oh no, another... Oh, wait, the lobotomy mine went after the Mason battle workers.
Battle workers.
There's that watchdog. I'm sure it's going to lift off any second now from 12 o'clock. Here's the
it's
Trojan.
chilling out
You
at the
can
moment.
pick up a watchdog in a Trojan, just so people know.
Oh my god.
Now, the Phalanx
just
Goliath up
fly
here
it.
is going to be able to clean this pretty easily, I think. Goliath already moving up into position. And only 2 Cyclops. You can't really kill a lot of workers with that.
They're also attacking the Goliath at the moment, so there was definitely potential for damage because the reaction was a little slow.
Yeah.
And instead he drops the vulture to kill it, and yeah. Nah, it almost feels like
Trojan goes
Hamster
down.
was expecting slightly more out of that.
Yeah. He was worried a little bit more than he had to be, I think. And now, look, he's going to chase that Mason down. I know you're allergic to battle workers.
Oh, no, he's going to find the watchdog. Oh, okay.
No, he's fine. He's like, why are my units going over there? I can't even see anything. Stupid units.
Yeah, you can hear the dog barking.
Another
Yeah,
Cyclops
muzzle
drop prepared here from Mr. Ramen. As the third
Oh,
base
nice.
lands.
There is a watchdog being built.
Atlas on the way. So Ramen's a little bit brittle with his forces. There is the Goliath. It's actually moving out just in time to catch this.
Oh, no, it isn't. Not. It's patrolling, I think. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. This time ignoring the Goliath. Not going to be bothered by it. Couple workers
the
going down
workers.
so far.
1 down, 2 down.
This will be a third and a
Yeah,
fourth.
their damage is kind of spread.
Yeah.
So, well, they'll get a couple. It's
Oh.
the mining time is definitely getting interrupted, and
That Goliath
Goliath
decided
had
to
to do a
dance a
little
little bit.
circuit
Yeah.
around. He needed to get in some.
He was making sure not to
Some
splash
light
anything else, I
exercise.
guess. It's fine. You know, it worked out, I guess. It's a bit weird. Down by
Little
20
light.
workers yet again, though. Hamster finding himself in very similar situations.
Hamster looking for maybe cat facts once again here, but now it's just gonna be the same thing. But the stockade is hanging up his Cyclops that were supposed to be chasing the vultures. Now that maybe are they on hold position? They didn't chase it at all. Oh no, now they are.
Yeah, get that stockade.
Nonetheless, the result is the same anyways. A lot of vultures died very terribly to the
Yeah.
large stack of battle workers.
Remember that
We got
Ramen's
the
still
lobster
in the
race.
middle of his tech switch. He hasn't made that many military units. He's mostly got the vultures and a couple Cyclops. And this mech army from Hamster is still pretty scary. So despite that military, the worker count being pretty low and the tech technically being in Ramen's favor, he needs time to get it online. If Hamster just attacks now, he could really threaten some critical damage.
Yeah, this base here is pretty vulnerable. The third definitely is going to get pressured. The vultures are taking a lot of damage. The stockade is nice for him because it can, if there was anything on those ledges, he would be able to see them.
He also saw how small the army was. Oh, no, he's going to catch the Trojan. There's nothing in it, but still, that removes any opportunity for harassment or scouting. Third base going to get shut down here. In fact, the Goliath count high enough, this treasury's just dead.
Yeah, this treasury is dead. He's not even moving it until it's too late. This early pressure is definitely coming pretty heavy on timing here. There are catfacts en route. There's not really a lot of tanks, but they are starting to amount. And if he kills the rest of the army, even if eventually, if he paid attention to these workers over here, he'll notice another base that's been built.
Yeah, he's got 2 vultures going on a bit of a run by. He might be thinking about attacking the third, but there's already Goliaths pretty far forward. They're going to catch that before they can really do anything. So Ramen, he's in a real tough bind right now. Sure, there's the minefield, but it's not really going to matter too much.
Yeah, the catfax can hold this ledge, but he can definitely go down to the bottom right and just park there, and then he has to fight this. Meanwhile, he's trying to do a backdoor on these tanks here. Looks like he might be able to get 1 or 2, but the focus fire grabbed the ones that were up front close. He unsieges them for the armor. There's only 2 catfax at the moment. The lobsters are really the only front line he has here. Oh, the random vulture died terribly.
Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, the splash damage.
Oh, my God. They're tickling.
One of the phalanxes goes down. Yeah, that's important. There's still 3 of them up here, it looks like. Maybe there's a 4th one. No, it's just 3. Okay. But the Goliaths are going to step forward.
Got a lot of health and a fair bit of armor, so they can force this down. Oh, the lobster, but nothing's attacking quite yet. He's got 2 tanks sieging. The Goliaths are slowly going down, but I think the damage is starting to become quite heavy as now Hamster is quite ahead in worker count. That base still goes unknown, though. I don't think he noticed the other workers or didn't care.
Yeah.
So that base is that's what's keeping Ramen in the game. Oh my God, they're biting. The battle workers have joined the front, and now they have departed.
They sure have. That cataphract is very low.
That stockade is really buying him a lot of time.
Oh, there's the low HP cataphract going down immediately. Some workers just, where are they rallying to? I don't know what's going on. Well, the vultures are off to the bottom right.
Over to the right, but he hasn't gone to the right location yet. He's looking around for it. He knows something's going on. He'll spot the one base, but will he spot the other one?
Yeah.
One worker is dead. He's like, huh, something's going on here.
Stockade will end up burning down. It looks like 12 o'clock finally going to be taken, but the Watchdog blocks it. As the Ministry is nearly complete.
Hamster is partly in production. The Stockade's on fire. He ends up pulling back. I feel like he couldn't spot those bases, and if he did, I feel like he could have turned around, put pressure on it, and that may well have been the end of the game.
Battle workers, kill that Watchdog.
No.
And the Stockade blew up.
This Watchdog is finally annihilated.
Yeah, I thought it was going to scout at some point, but I guess not. The Vulture's just going to occupy all the different locations, checking on any other expansion. Still has not bothered to check 6 o'clock, and Sentinels are about to come online. So if he wants to siege that, it's going to need to be a little bit more involved than just a couple vultures.
He's got so much money.
Yeah, what's he want to do with all that? Cap and gas a little bit. Starport.
Starport. I feel like that if it's like, okay, yeah, capping the gas is definitely a good idea here. Get at least like 3 gas caps and build your production, and then maybe start capping gas as it's building. 2 starports. It definitely feels like he does not want to opt into the catfact autism at this point.
Well, he's going for quadruple gas cap, and he's being zoned back a little bit here, but he can deploy those phalanxes and use the Goliaths to close the gap. They're going to snipe down the artillery for Ramen, and all of a sudden, this high ground belongs to Hamster.
Yeah, there wasn't really too many units there. Hamster doesn't want to lose these units. Well, he manages to get a bunch of kills in. His army is only 7 units. Every unit is very precious. There's some vultures up top here, but you can see that Hamster is accustomed to these run-bys.
Yeah.
And while they do manage to get some worker kills in, it could have been definitely a lot worse as he's chasing down the catfacts. They've got big legs, but they're very thick, and the clap of their ass cheeks shakes the ground. They move so slowly. Another treasury is going to die.
Yeah, that's it for the potential 4th base. Remember that the bottom right has not actually been taken just yet this whole time, blocked by the vultures.
Yep.
A lot of these units very low, so this army is in jeopardy. Hamster could just end up losing the whole thing, but not before he picks off some of these cataphracts.
Every catfact that dies is really important for Ramen at this point.
Yeah, he can't really reach a critical mass. Trying to play Minesweeper with the Goliaths, not a bad move per se. Stuns up most of those low HP sort of fodder units there. Got his own vultures pretty far forward.
Dying randomly, just pathing here and there.
Yeah, once again, where are these masons
from all over from random locations that should be telling Hamster that these Masons are not just here randomly. Like they're constantly rallying.
Oh,
Back
he
and
saw
forth
the
between
Sentinels
these
with
two
his
bases.
vultures because they died to the at 6 o'clock. So,
Yeah.
meanwhile, the bottom right main's being taken by that treasury. Ramen is pretty far behind economically for really what feels like the first time the whole
We do
series.
have Wyverns coming, and if he gets a stack of those and flies them into Ramen's base,
Yeah.
it is over because there is nothing.
Yeah, there's no
And
anti-air here at all.
He did not remember to lift that Watchdog and Scout at any point, even while he's being tickled to death by Masons. Otherwise, he might have been able to catch wind of this.
Yeah, fair point.
There's no tier 2 that he's seen from Hamster up until this point. So he'll know that he's going for it, but he'll probably suspect it's going to be the same it's been for the rest of the game, but it isn't. It's going to be ugly when it does show up because he's waiting to get a little stack of them. There's no way that Ramen can detect it now unless he decides to suicide something and end it there.
The battle workers might help this vulture. No, they're just going to execute each other in the bottom right. That's fine, I guess.
Hamster has so much money.
Small force here in the upper area is going to get run down, but pretty cost efficient for Ramen.
Yeah, they're just trying to move in, but it moved in kind of little too aggressively, and yeah, it ends up taking actually quite a bit of damage from that.
The one vulture cancels top right.
One
Yeah.
base up there.
The cataphracts, they're 1 HP. Oh, they die horribly.
Oh, they're dead. Ramen has been able to make quite a bit of mileage out of that. Those little exchanges cost Hamster quite a bit, actually.
A lot of attention,
His
too.
military is reducing quite a bit.
He should just kill that phalanx, but I think he's worried about reinforcements coming up and in a time where he's not ready yet. But the death stack of wyverns is being assembled.
There are some captaincies being built, probably to try to spend that disgusting amount of minerals he has.
Oh, look at this move, too.
Wyverns are going the long way around. He's going to go for all the expansions.
And they will be intercepted by that vulture. I think he's going to run into it, yeah. So Ramen will be aware of it, but still, going after the side bases makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense because you last time you were thinking, oh man, the air attacks are going to come in here. He's probably prepared for this, but no, not quite actually. So
he's starting to build watchdogs. Yeah. That is not the best place to build them either because, well, the wyverns can just ignore them. And
yeah, they can hug the right side here. But let's see if they will bother. That's the question. Ground army moving up, going to clear out these phalanxes at some cost. Actually, somehow they mostly end up getting out unscarred at the beginning, but now some of them are going to start to fall.
Yeah, this little piddling of units is going to get intercepted before it can properly
look at this. The wyverns at the bottom right already starting to do some pretty good work here. All the artillery completely gone for Ramen in a side of his map. That is his opponent's. Mason's getting cleaned up. The watchdog's trying to reposition, but not exactly going to work out. That quarry is going to be made mincemeat out of. Got to pull these wyverns back before they end up dying. You can see they're pretty tanky, but a lot of them have been reduced to a very low amount of HP. They can't shoot up, so that's a key detail.
Yep. Some more Masons die just for good measure. The damage is done at this point. He can go back and repair. So many little caterpillar Masons down there. He actually pulled those from the central 6 o'clock base. So he was really, really worried about them just ignoring it and diving into that base. Instead, they're actually killing a bunch of random units that have come over here to intercept.
Yeah.
They're going to run into these cat packs, which get a couple kills in, but
still trading. You trade a wyvern for a phalanx. That's cost efficiency, slightly, but that is in favor of the wyvern player. So.
Hamster take this opportunity to take his opponent's northern base.
Yeah, we'll take that. That's the 8 o'clock going the way of Hamster. Ramen trying to field some Valkyries.
So his units are all very wounded here.
Yes.
And some of them die pretty quickly. So that's a key difference from the last game where the other units are helping him quite a bit. But look at his army. He's got 80 million fucking Goliaths. And there are apostles being built.
Well, he also, his opponent is very weak right now. Ramen, this army wipes. That's the end of the game for him. And the Valkyries, they were shot down before the wyverns even showed their tail. So this is looking very strong for Hamster. He just needs to clear this army and he'll be okay.
Yeah, even if he loses this army, it's 12 to 49 military units. He has units all over back in his main right now that are gathering up, including more wyverns.
Yeah, more units coming down the ramp as well.
One of them got dragged into the watchdogs and died. And there's a Valk kind of tickling their ball sacks at the moment, but
yeah, you need a good number of them to clear out air stacks. A TVT, that's not exactly the unit you usually go for, but You know, it's not bad because
Giant,
obviously
massive.
you can use the Gorgons and stuff to slow them down as well. That's another option. But
Yeah, there are some Gorgons coming. It's there's 3 star parts with no add-ons for Ramen at the moment. This Volk dies terribly. At least it tells them where the army is. Which
yeah, and also
kind of
shows the
already knew.
apostles. That's not something that
Yep.
I think Hamster was Ramen was aware of. So
That'll definitely help if he uses them for the tank line. It's
yes,
gonna be very, very hard to actually get rid of that tank line.
good choice versus
But
the
honestly, everything here is
cataphracts,
gonna be
yeah.
hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
It's 10 to 61 military. Like this is Ramen's army here, and most of it's wounded.
Yep, they're just gonna get sniped away at the end, and it's not looking good for our boy, our tasty meal for those college students.
The giant wall of Gundams is slowly making their way over. Oh, big returns, big returns. Hamster is now the proud owner of a Gorgon.
Yeah, that was his Gorgon. He just was able to get it back.
He now owns some Heracles.
Oh, his Ramses as well. He stole his
And
opponent's
Ramses.
Ramses.
They found a lobster for him. Big gains. The natural is finally annihilated. The rest of the catfags have been stomped. Some madcaps and other assorted units are coming over. Their production is under siege.
There's no focus fire available here
U.S.
for Ramen.
Marines have arrived.
Yeah,
There's nothing to stop them.
that's
The ranch is under siege.
GG is called. Mesk, we are going to a game 5 for the first time today.
Well, it would be the Terran versus Terran that manages to make it.
Of course, yeah. It's the longest individual game time and the longest series. Why not? Genesis Y is going to be our decider, boys. Hamster versus TopRamen. You know, Ramen was ahead pretty highly in those games, I would say, like for most of them when it comes to the macro, the economics. But you were talking about his lack of actual efficiency with his composition. And I have to second that. I have to echo that here because he doesn't always know exactly how to respond to what Hamster does with his cheeky, interesting comps that are maybe not seen too often, right? Hamster's just a weird player, right? He's just a weird guy sometimes in the best way possible. Very peculiar way of playing. And so that peculiarity shows up, and what is your slapdash response, right? Hamster's been playing longer than Ramen has, knows the units a little bit more deeply, so it stands to reason that in those non-standard types of situations that can get you. But also I do think that the tech up plus expand combo that Ramen likes to do does leave you open to a military retaliation, even if you feel like you're ahead in terms of workers. We were talking about that one moment in the top left natural, Hamster's natural, a bunch of vultures suicide in to kill a bunch of workers. And I was pressing to you, like, is that worth it? It turns out you were right. It's not necessarily worth it to lose all that military, to lose the pressure there. If you're planning on doing what Ramen is planning on doing. So adjustments need to be made probably on both sides. We did see some weaknesses in the spending for both of our players, but we're about to get into the decider. Genesis Y, a 2-spawn map. Hamster took the first, then he takes this last game that we just saw. Is he going to take the final one? That's the question I pose to you. As Hamster, the Celadon Terran in the top right, against Ramen, the dark green Terran in the bottom right. There you go. I got it. Easy
Well,
clap.
if there was ever a map for a bio all-in and a proxy stockade in front of your base, this definitely looks like it. Ramen going for that early gas. Will it be? Will it be the quarry first?
It would be the an interesting opportunity for him to change at the very last second. Will he change it up? But I don't know.
I would expect him to on this map because the distance looks very short.
Right.
Definitely would be some shenanigans here.
And I mean,
Although
we've
the
seen
chokers
some
will be
serious
easier to
action
control,
in
so.
general from like the vultures in this whole series. The vulture lobotomy mine wars have been a significant storyline, right? And so, but it doesn't look like Ramen's shying away. The quarry goes
Do or
down.
die.
All right. We're really seeing what Ramen's made of. Dude, I think you put any other Terran in this position. Game 5 of a set. You know, and you're like, you have to take control after Ramen builds his first structure, right? Any other Terran that we have, they are panicking right now. They're like, what have you done? But Ramen's going to play it cool.
Nope. Just make workers. Dude, Nablime said it. He wins.
That's right.
I'm going to do it. I'm making workers. Fuck it. I will die, but I will not die poor.
True. Die rich.
Or maybe battle workers will win the day. Huh?
Well, the vulture's all in the way for Hamster, and he's going to
Hamster
heckle the
scouts
Mason
his
building the
opponent.
Fulcrum. If that gets delayed, this gets really scary.
Oh, it's tickling.
Even a little bit of mining delay here is not bad.
It's biting.
It is biting. Look,
Wiggling.
Hamster's
Aggressively
playing football
wiggling.
here. He's dancing back and forth like a
They're at the same
linebacker, you know?
health.
Yeah.
If they both die at the exact same time, it's gonna be really stupid.
Oh, got double tapped there though. Oh, he could have had a second free hit there. Oh, he's trying to dance around it, but the Fulcrum will endure. The timing of the Fulcrum is really the most important part there because the Vulture's already on the way down.
Yeah, you won't be able to get those initial lobsters out, which is really important because that's what really delays a lot of the aggression is the initial vulture here.
Yeah.
If he manages to drop a lobster directly on top of his nose.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, it gets away. Oh, battle workers.
Oh no, he's actually going to lose the trade, I think. Okay, never mind. He manages to get it at the last second. Man, this is really dangerous. The Vulture, it's got one tap away. No! The battle workers do win the day. Hamster, how have you allowed this to happen? He comes back in with his second one.
He should be repairing with that Mason while he still can.
Oh, but he doesn't believe it.
Gross.
He doesn't believe in the timing. No, Robin!
Oh, no!
Oh, my God. No, not your own, mine. Okay, thank goodness. Jesus Christ, Hamster. I don't know what's happening, but no, you're going to get stunned again. Everybody's stunned. You get a stun, and you get a stun. And the Vulture is dying. They could.
Okay.
The battle
Another
workers.
one has arrived.
The battle
the
workers.
Masons.
No, there's no more mines
Battle
over here
workers.
for Hamster. He's got to fall back. And he has fallen down. He's behind 5 workers right now, Mesk. This is working out for Ramen.
It's okay. He's got another vulture. The lobsters have arrived. The gates of Mordor have been sealed. Ah, fuck this.
Oh, he thinks he's free, but no, there's
no,
a
he grabbed
second one.
No.
Oh, Ramen's actually gonna win the early
Tried
shenanigans.
to thread the hamster wheel, and he got tickled along the way. Oh, it's a
And up he
train.
goes. Second Fulcrum now halfway complete. But Ramen's already got his second one up, courtesy of his macro advantage. 5 workers to the better.
There's nothing here.
Defensive mine there, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
Now
going to be enough.
even. Yeah, that was unbelievably violent. Oh.
Oh, he could have just sniped that one with a cliff advantage. Instead, he's just going to soften them both
I think
up.
he was surprised at what had happened. He just looked over and it was like, oh shit. Battle workers.
He's got his own
There's
battle.
no-
Oh my God! No,
there's
you got to.
mines, but they haven't dropped them here.
Yeah, you really got to watch out for this. Oh. Okay. All right. All right. We like this. We like this action here. Man, who knew TVT would have so many vultures?
Every game starts off with the most you're putting teeth marks in your seat watching vultures, and somehow it's like the players are just calmly building workers behind this. Although Ramen always somehow manages to take the lead at this point.
Shopkeeper Dog in the chat talking about how this Quarry first builds puts the game into a bit of a coin flip. I don't know. I mean, Hamster won 2 games versus Quarry first without actually getting successful wins in the early game, so I'm not sure about that. But I track the idea. I understand what he's talking about.
I think the vultures turn this into just the
Derangement.
players get so focused on trying to out macro the vultures that the Quarry is sometimes there's 2 idle workers in Hamster's base right now.
Yeah.
And the Quarry and the Ministry are idle in Ramen's base. So it's this becomes so high intensity at the moment. The players aren't even able to maximize their macro advantages at the moment.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. The Bastion has been stunned.
Hey, it makes sense. It's actually slowed, which doesn't make sense, but it would make sense
if it was
you
lifted
could...
off and flying away, you'd be in trouble.
No, if it was self-destructing, it would. That's the stun, but
This treasury here is
imposing.
yeah.
Imagine
it's
if he
blocking
carefully
him.
moved his units underneath the treasury, oh, I'm the.
Yeah, he's trying to do that. He was checking for mines, but there was none, so he's like, oh, okay. I'll just fuck him up. Now you can't click on your units. That's the power of the Biddy Bee. Everyone is harnessing dad energy at the moment. Ah, yeah.
I really can't believe what I've witnessed in this set. Man, if
the
that battle
lobsters.
worker doesn't kill the vulture that had 5 HP, I think Ramen just loses.
Yep.
That was
Yeah, he
actually a
loses.
pivotal moment. I can't believe your ludicrous battle worker call was true.
Yeah, imagine if he had just repaired 1 tick.
Yeah.
he might have been able to escape that, and then this would have been much different. I don't know. I think he doesn't really want to sacrifice more workers at this point in the game, but losing the vultures is costing him so much possible momentum at the moment.
He is getting the Goliaths out now for Hamster, so he will be able to deal with any air threats. That's what he thinks is coming. You can see him put the Goliaths back there, but no, not quite, my friends. The Goliaths are not in the right spot. They have to come on back, and I think they're just going to be overwhelmed by the sheer number of vultures.
Now, Ramen gets cold feet.
Okay.
The battle workers.
Indeed.
Consuming lobsters.
Lobster workers.
Lobster workers.
Another round of Goliaths just about to pop out.
Are at least somewhat wounded.
Yeah.
He's not able to finish off workers. He's attacking the treasury, which, while it is getting low, it's giving Hamster precious time to assemble the battle workers to devour lobsters. This is...
I can't believe the mines mostly worked against him there. Oh, sure. One more for good
one final lobster.
Well, there you go. He's once again up by 15 workers, but that's okay. Hamster is still standing somehow. He has the superior units, but Ramen's adding a Palladium. I don't think he's going to make the same mistakes.
Ramen's got so much money.
Yeah.
I think like the autism has just overwhelmed him.
Ministry on the third. Remember, this is the 5th game. I mean, our players are probably quite tired.
Yeah.
No!
All right.
I thought for sure that lobotomy mine would stun everything. Ah!
Oh, my God.
Quite.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, vultures have just
You're going to be hearing that sound in your sleep for a little while after this, I think.
Yeah. The satisfying thunk of the mine being laid. The shrieking
Now it looks like
movement.
Ramen wants to go straight to that tier 2 here. He has just about enough gas. Same with Hamster. What do they both go tier 2 with? They both make wyverns.
You know, on Paradise,
just a base
Hamster
reason.
only got... I mean, Ramen on Paradise only actually made Palladiums after he hit tier 2. Just to point out, he's changed his tune quite a bit here with the Atlas coming after 1 Palladium. He's got a very strange orientation of his fulcrums there. I'm not sure what that layout's supposed to signify. Maybe some dark god
Desperation,
summoning.
honestly.
Yeah. But the Phalanx is out.
He's kind of entering in a little bit of a sticky spot here where, depending on how this goes, if this Phalanx dies, there's nothing to take the lobsters, but they are in range.
Oh, no, he's got to refocus. Okay, but now all of his Goliaths are stunned.
One last micro there. He's going to at least trade for this.
Oh, my goodness.
We're just trading stuns.
Yeah,
this
but there's
like
no additional Goliaths coming on in.
Arena.
The problem is that there's no more Goliaths coming, and there is another Phalanx that's popped out, another one queued up behind it. So Ramen's...
He's attacking the one with the highest health, though.
Well, they were spreading their damage too, so... Look at him, the confidence of this man, putting a quarry down right next to that.
That's how you establish dominance.
Yeah. I lift my first ministry and then land it next to my opponent and build a quarry.
Looking at Hamster's base. He's got the 2 patrolling Goliaths. He's got one in his net. He knows that there could be Trojan shenanigans. The Atlas is about to finish for Ramen.
Yeah.
What will he build with it? Will it be Catfax?
The thing is, Ramen's build is so... Yeah, it's
It will be Catfax.
Ramen's build is really, like, quite greedy and dangerous. The way that he's gone for, like, predominantly Vulture this whole game. And now that Hamster's got his own Phalanxes out, there is going to be the opportunity for him to fight back in a real way.
We've already seen that Goliath tank can win against Catfax.
Yeah.
So what it comes down to is keeping his tank count healthy and not losing any more workers since he's already at a big deficit.
He really needs to think about getting an
last game,
Anseal. Like, this is... The mines are really starting to hurt him.
Yeah.
Goliaths are winning out against the
really
Vultures
spread.
pretty handily, and they did force that single Phalanx back, because if it hadn't remained in
Battle workers.
tank mode...
Battle workers.
Yeah, Minesweeper workers.
Battle workers.
They're called miners, right? They mine?
Yep.
All right, well, this will be cleaned up. He'll even keep his own Phalanx alive, so Hamster likes that. He is still behind by a significant margin of workers here. 30 worker diff right now in favor of Ramen.
Catfax are en route. The Manor Watchdog has been placed at the 3rd. It will stand watch and pee on the workers aggressively to keep them mining faster. But the worker count is very high. If you look at the worker count, you will see 69. Yeah. That's a good number.
That's right. 69. soon as that
This
finishes.
ramp here, this central ramp here, I feel like holding that would be quite critical for Hamster at the moment. We got the lower ramp there that some sentinels would go well on, except there is no tier 2 en route for him. Oh, no, he just started. It's in his nat. So it's going to be a little quite delayed, really.
Watch out for those mines. A
Man.
humongous stun. And a phalanx goes down at the end of all of that.
More vultures are going to there, but there's already Goliaths in that area that can fight this. So
Yeah, this isn't going to work
we're not
out too
going to
nicely.
achieve too much here.
He might be able to get away with 2 of them going into the
You might
natural.
spot that tier 2, but it's probably information he can already... Actually, he may not even spot that.
No, just at the end of it. I'm not sure he clicks on it, but it looks like he did.
I think he clicked on it.
Yeah.
Another vultures are like dying everywhere. Right now.
Yeah. Here come the cataphracts.
Meanwhile, the battle worker has located that base, so if these cataphracts get pushed back or otherwise destroyed, Hamster has a good juicy target he can go for.
There goes the battle worker, yeah.
Annihilated.
Only 12 workers in the bottom left, by the way. Bottom.
Still feel like
left.
Vestry would have gone a long way in these Goliath heavy builds.
Yeah. I mean, they're so
Just
expensive.
a couple. Yeah.
Definitely would have.
Just a couple of
benefited him.
clerics would have helped him just like top off his army.
Battle worker.
Oh, the battle workers are biting that vulture. There's also a random lobster that has somehow not been triggered through all this, right in the middle of everything there.
Oh my God, battle workers.
Oh, no, the battle workers. There's so many of them. It's okay. He's got like another 30, 40 to spare before they catch up.
He must realize by now. He's like, yeah, I've got the worker advantage. It's fine.
Yeah, they're my front line. I don't need anything else.
That phalanx is dead.
Yeah. The other one's going to take some damage coming down the ramp here. The battle workers lead the front. Wait a minute. Those aren't my battle workers.
Wait, the mine. Oh, doesn't stun though. Oh, there they go.
They
One
died.
last battle worker and it gets killed immediately. All right, here's the siege line, but the Goliaths are really clumped up together. Same can be said for the cataphracts, but that's not the main target right now. All the Goliaths go complete, hit the deck. They are dead.
Yeah, they're well outnumbered.
Yeah.
They don't really do that much damage, so that's what I mean. The tank count is very important for Hamster in this.
Well,
if he has a high tank count, he can fight this. If he doesn't, then...
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah,
Hamster can't do
fair
it.
enough.
He's going to concede. Our 5-game set is over, and TopRamen emerges victorious. Man, the phalanx count dropping so precipitously at the end there definitely hurts, but you gotta give it to him, man. That was some nice play. That was some nice play. Out of all of that, really, I am impressed.
That was just like not... Like, I didn't expect a TVT with T3 showing up in the first match to be like literally just nonstop bloodshed the entire time.
Yeah.
There was very little downtime in those matches.
Yeah, impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. Well, that means that Hamster does drop down to the lower bracket. He'll face the loser of Nebline versus Mystery Meat, while TopRamen proceeds and will face the winner of that match. He's going to the upper semifinal, number 2. I'm going to fill that bracket out for you guys. And yeah, that's some pretty interesting stuff, man. I'm excited to see how all of this takes shape, because as far as I'm concerned, like, we're going to start to see some really interesting things out of TVT. And there are a lot of Terrans in this bracket. Hamster, Ramen, Mystery, and HitEmUp as well. So that's interesting.
Every game will be just vulture-tism.
It certainly wouldn't surprise me. All right, well, with that being said, we have 2 results out of the bracket. We've seen quarterfinal number 1 and number 3. It looks like I was able to get the files necessary to wrangle the rest of the Arbuz Shambler set. And so...
Did you have a functional replay, or...
No, it would end up being some videos. I have to download them,
Okay.
And it's Google Drive, so I need access because XD, so I'm going to ask 3Crow about that. And he's going to clear that out. But I don't know about you, but I think that was a lot of casting. So what do you say we come back tomorrow if you're free for that? We do the rest of
Sure.
the other stuff, because you know, so it's good to keep ourselves fresh. That was 4 hours. It's not a small amount of time.
Doesn't feel like 4 hours to me. It's easy to lose time when you're casting.
Yeah. That's what I was just looking at the clock. I was like, well, I was looking outside and seeing it was dark, and I was like, oh damn, what's going on? So
well, it's 5:30, so it's like kind of like, yeah, I was running a game yesterday, and I'm kind of tired from that already. So
yeah,
I can keep going, but it definitely, you start to get tired when your sleep is as fucked as mine is. So I get an average. I'm still only getting like about 3 or 4 hours of sleep a day. So
yeah, try to bump those numbers up. Them are rookie numbers. I will say, as we call it to a close for now, we're gonna come back pretty soon. We'll be back tomorrow for some more action. And the other thing I will say though is that I was informed. I was telling you about the rules for the turning.
Yeah.
Apparently there was an FFA played in the turning.
Yeah.
Apparently the replay for that actually works, according to Shambler. So I'm just gonna say at some point we'll be casting that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be very.
I'm gonna. I don't know if I'll do it tonight because it's like an hour and a half, but I will cast those Shambler mystery me games at some point. So you can look forward to that too.
Yeah, I figure we could
It'll
probably
not
do that
Discord
together
forward.
as well, but we'll see. Depends on scheduling and stuff. Obviously, I'm consumed by a lot of busy stuff right now, prepping for the move and all that. So that's going down.
Moving, working, all the normal person things.
Classic move.
Meanwhile, I just like care for geriatrics and just never sleep.
I might have to do that too. So
Yeah, and I have one D&D game that's very far behind and one that's 2 years behind. I think I'm actually going to have to start working on again because it looks like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I might actually be picking that up soon. So
your Saturday player came back or something.
Very busy,
like that.
And of course, I'm trying to catch up on the Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, people were looking at those
casts as well that are from 2017. So I've got probably about another. I'm guessing at least another 100, maybe 150 or more to cast and process. So.
Oh yeah, okay. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
That's just one of 80 million things I'm working on. Every now and then I'm uploading those, so if you guys are interested in that, every now and then I have a playlist on YouTube. I've been sticking them on, but every now and then I post them in the Gamer channel. So if Heroes of the Storm silliness is something you watch, I've also got an ancient project for that I follow up on.
Well, there you go, boys. Some stuff for you to watch while you wait for tomorrow to roll around, where we will cast Arbuz versus the Shambler in full, and then Neblime versus Mystery Meat to close us out. Really looking forward to both of those sets, but especially that last one, because that is just a rivalry from way back. That's one of our longest running head-to-heads between two very accomplished players. Since Mystery Meat's been AFK, away from Cosmonarchy, so AFCM, Neblime has been winning everything, and so it stands to reason that he wants to prove himself. That he's like, I switched to Protoss. I want to prove I can still be a good Protoss player. When he showed up in previous tournaments as Protoss, he was doing pretty well. He comes to this one. His old pal Mystery Meat is back. Just could you imagine? Could you imagine how that match is going to go? I've been thinking about it for a long time. So we will take a look at those a little bit later. Tomorrow's stream will be great. We'll figure out the exact time a bit later. Maybe around the same time we started this one. What do you think, Mess?
Yeah, that can work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have anything happening for a while. So.
Well, there you go. About 4:30 Eastern time is when we'll probably kick things off. GG, boys. We will return sooner than maybe you think.